advised.
We knew that it was going to happen. This is one of those bitter, I told you so moments.
Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
ABC News reporter Luke Barr said to join us live on Wisconsin's Afternoon News at 3:45 today for the latest on those deportation efforts.
Hamas has published the names of 4 hostages expected to be released from Gaza tomorrow, but the list does not match the names Israeli officials had expected.
The significant thing about the names on the list which Hamas has published are all of the names are female Israeli soldiers, and that is not the expectation, or wasn't the expectation here in Israel. It wasn't as per the agreed deal, according to sources we're speaking to. So what Israel was expecting was 3 female IDF soldiers on that list, plus 1 female civilian.
That was ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge. The Israeli government says they are working to put out a statement about the impact this will have on the deal.
More changing and threatening weather in Southern California after another wildfire broke out just north of Los Angeles this week. The weather is now going from fire to rain, causing even more issues. ABC's Alex Stone.
In an abrupt switch, Southern California is going from red flag fire warnings, fire danger warnings, and wind warnings expiring today to a winter weather advisory for rain and snow in the mountains. It won't be a ton of rain, but enough that there are worries in the recent wildfire burn zones because the ground is so charred that it cannot absorb water. It's prone to mudslides and debris flows. Free sandbags are available, and concrete barriers are being put into place to divert water and mud.
This will be the first measurable rainfall for SoCal in nearly 9 months.
And here locally in Wisconsin, the Arctic temperatures are behind us, but will they come back? TMJ4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson tells us.
Right now is actually the coldest on average time of year for Milwaukee, where our average temperature is around 23 degrees. That's a period from January the 19th through the 27th. So we got 3 more days. And then on average, it should get warmer as we go forward in time.
Your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast is coming up in 10 minutes.
Coming up next, bringing country music to Madison.
Outdoor Living Unlimited news time approaching 3:05.
Hey, John Mercure here for Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning. My reverse osmosis system in my house is fantastic. The water I drink, the water we feed the dogs, the water we cook with is crisp, clean, and clear thanks to Guthrie and Fry's RO system. It's the best in the business. It's affordable, it's effective, and you'll feel a lot better. It's all about the science. They know at Guthrie and Fry that better water makes a big difference. Southeast Wisconsin's #1 choice and my choice is Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning.
Better water makes a big difference. Guthrie and Fry.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Outdoor Living Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
It's time to take action to stop your sleep struggle. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Citing Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 3:07.
A big name musician is coming to Camp Randall.
Morgan Wallen will play Camp Randall this summer. Wallen's I'm the Problem tour will stop in Madison on Saturday, June 28th, along with Miranda Lambert and Ella Langley. News of the show comes a few months after Coldplay announced it was playing the stadium in July. That show's already sold out. This is the first time since 1997 acts this big have played Camp Randall. That's when U2 and the Rolling Stones made separate stops. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The surging Milwaukee Bucks now winners of 5 straight games and 8 out of their last 10. This after last night's rout of the Miami Heat after arriving in Milwaukee after about a 2.5-hour delay, or they arrived just before game time. The Bucks next head west to Los Angeles. I'll take the Clippers on tomorrow night. A major night of college basketball on the books. 10th-ranked Marquette hosting Villanova for a 6 o'clock tip. You can catch that game over on our sister station, 94.5 ESPN. If the UWM Panthers are more your speed, they take on Northern Kentucky. That game's on 101.7 The Truth starting at 6 o'clock.
Right now, we see Joint Base Andrews, a live look at President Trump. He was just visiting ravaged Hurricane Helene, people that were affected by Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, alongside the First Lady. He is now headed to fire-ravaged Los Angeles right now, so he's en route. Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 3:08.
It's Christmas in January and a family fish fry Friday at the amazing Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford. It is delicious and incredible value. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mine Shaft is still decorated with holiday lights and Christmas decorations. Your kids and grandkids, they're going to love that. The Friday fish fry is all you can eat, just $7.99. What? That's crazy value. Kids' meals start at $3.99, and they can safely play in that world-class game room quietly set aside from the dining area while you finish up your meal. It's perfect. Desserts are buy one, get one free. Try the hot homemade soup, so delicious on a cold January day. The family-owned Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh right near the EAA. Saturday, your steak dinner is under $20. The Sunday brunch feast is under $15. Enjoy your Friday all-you-can-eat $7.99 fish fry, serving from 11 a.m., so get there early. Call and reserve now, MineShaftRestaurant.com. It is the amazing Mine Shaft.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, Julia Fellow and Mike Spalding.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Wow, what a week with the inauguration happening and all of the executive orders coming in fast and furious. Okay, so we just saw on the air President Trump. He's now en route to fire-ravaged Los Angeles. And Fox News just said, and they're reporting, that he will meet with Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, which was not really known if that was going to happen or not. So it's been confirmed according to Fox News. All right, let's take a look at what we're looking at.
This is the 3 at 3 on Wisconsin's afternoon news.
Number 1, why the Wisconsin National Guard website is offline. It's after President Donald Trump signed his executive order to disband diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI practices and policies. So, if you text WATCH to 855-616-1620, WATCH to our Setting Limit Talk and text line, you can see the message for yourself. So if you go to wi.ng.mil, it says website temporarily offline in accordance to President Donald Trump's executive order called Ending Radical and Wasteful Government DEI Programs and Preferencing. It says the website is under maintenance to comply with that order. And it also says we apologize for any inconvenience and hope to be back online soon. Again, that's the Wisconsin National Guard website that's offline this afternoon.
Another big story we're following, momentum building behind Wisconsin Democratic Party Chairman Ben Wickler, who's aiming to take the same role for the national DNC. Wickler, who many say is in pole position to head up the DNC, just received a major endorsement from 7 Democratic governors countrywide. Among them, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, meanwhile, endorsed Wickler yesterday afternoon. Other finalists for that DNC chair role, former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley. He also was interested in a bid in 2016 for president, along with Minnesota Democratic Party Chairman Ken Martin. Martin's also been the vice chairman of the DNC since 2017. A vote on that new role set to be February 1st.
Okay. Number 3, ice quakes. Loud booms have been startling people in Madison. It's been echoing, followed by ground shaking through the isthmus there. And you know what it is? Ice quakes. So ice quakes happen from the groundwater expanding from the bitter cold, and it actually cracks the ground apart, which leads to a seismic event. In fact, the UW-Madison Geology Department saw a faint mark on their seismograph, and they're not too worried, saying it's part of lake life. The groundwater is very close to the surface of Madison in particular because of the lakes beautiful lakes, including Lake Monona. I love that. And when the water freezes, it expands, making those huge cracks. And it's still startling, hence the beautiful lakes in Madison. Caused by the big booms, John Ganal said that he heard one when he was sitting at his kitchen table Wednesday morning, but he knew what it was. Here he is describing what it sounds like.
The whole apartment just completely shook, and there was a loud sound. I call it singing. The ice sings.
The ice sings.
That's a lot less of a threatening word than ice quake. Ice singing is a lot nicer than booming.
I would freak out if my building shook like that. That's crazy. Okay, so now you know ice quakes. 3:13 on WTMJ. Just after this, WTMJ's Wisconsin's Afternoon News continues. The Nashville shooter and the Madison school shooter have a connection. That Nashville shooting happened Wednesday. Madison's school shooting happened last month. I'll tell you the connection next.
Hey Bucks fans, it's Justin Garcia from the Bucks Radio Network, here to tell you about the launch of the Bucks Central podcast feed. Everything Bucks, on demand, in one spot. From sideline to sideline, hear all the ankle-breaking, rim-rattling, and twine-tingling highlights, exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe to the Bucks Central podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. All the Bucks content your heart desires in one spot. Check out the Bucks Central podcast feed.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here, asking you to join me in October as my wife and I explore the magical kingdoms of Southeast Asia, from the villages of Vietnam and the temples of Cambodia to the friendly locals of Laos and the beachside resort in stunning, lively Thailand. I hope you'll join us for this unforgettable journey. Ancient and mysterious worlds of rural landscapes, bustling cities, and fascinating history in Vietnam. Explore the Chu Chi tunnels used by the Viet Cong. Experience a street food adventure through Hanoi and cherish the serenity of Hai Long Bay on a beautiful boat ride. Bangkok in Thailand, the beaches in Thailand, history, tradition, food. If you'd like more information on this great trip, send me an email. john.mercure@wtmj.com. john.mercure@wtmj.com. It's Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. I'm super jazzed about this trip. Send me an email. I send you the info. john.mercure, MERCURE, @wtmj.com.
Stop in and load up on great everyday essentials at Fleet Farm Stock-Up Sale, January 16th through the 29th. 40-pound bags of Morton Water Softener Salt are just $5.99. Superior hardwood fuel pellets are on sale for $5.49 a bag. And don't forget your backyard friends. 40-pound bags of black oil sunflower seed are just $14.99. Be sure to stock up on all your everyday favorites, all at the best prices, guaranteed, at Fleet Farm Stock-Up Sale.
Traffic and then weather. Let's get you where you need to safely with our Debbie Lazaga. Hey, Deb, how are the roads?
Hey, Julia. Yeah, it's actually looking pretty good right now. We do have one crash, but it's not on the freeway. It's on 27th Street or 241 northbound at Mangold Avenue. It's off on the right shoulder, so that's something to be careful with. That's right, just basically across the freeway from the airport, so just be careful with that. Westbound on 94, though, we are seeing delays from 30th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Southbound 43, a little heavy through the Marquette itself. Southbound on 41, slowing down from just before Silver Spring all the way down past Capitol Drive. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Chance of a flurry overnight tonight, a low about 17 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a high 34. Sunday, sunny skies, once again, a high 27 degrees. Warming up a bit on Monday, mostly cloudy, a high 38. Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, 35 degrees is your high. Downtown Milwaukee this afternoon, it's 18 degrees at 317.
317 on WTMJ, we broke on our show the news of the horrific Nashville shooting just this week. 17-year-old student Solomon Henderson is accused of opening fire in the cafeteria of Antioch High School Wednesday, killing a 16-year-old girl and then hurting another student who's 17. The shooter then turned the gun on himself. And there's word of a connection that the shooter may have had with a shooting suspect in Madison, Wisconsin. 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, who opened fire at Abundant Life Christian School last month. Horrific. Rupnow died after the shooting, in which 2 were killed and several wounded. Law enforcement sources are telling ABC News It shows the Madison shooter and Nashville shooter were following each other at the time of the shooting in Madison, and they were in contact with each other online. Apparently, after the shooting, the Nashville shooter praised her actions. The Nashville suspect allegedly live-streamed the shooting on Kick's social website, but is quickly taken down. So disturbing. Authorities also say the Madison shooter was also in contact with a man talking about targeting federal buildings in San Diego. Remember that one, Mike? And January 3rd, Alexander Pfaffendorf, 20, appeared virtually before a San Diego County judge in a hearing on gun violence. And there's an emergency protective order against him not to have any guns in Carlsbad, California. The order requiring him to surrender all of his guns. FBI agents detained him after discovering he was plotting a mass shooting with Rupnow online. During an FBI interview, Pfaffendorf admitted to agents he told the Madison shooter that he would arm himself with explosives and a gun when he targeted a federal building, but didn't know which one yet. He spent the last few moments in court saying that he was very sorry.
So is this a manifesto type situation? What was the link that they were able to make here?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so both of them did have manifestos. Do you remember the one that was tweeted out by, yeah, and then it was a Google document and you couldn't open it, and the boyfriend released it. The other suspect also had a manifesto, according to federal authorities. Both of them wacky, racist, not good. So yes, they apparently were talking to each other, and he praised her actions after she shot up the school last month and took her own life. He was also following online a whole bunch of other just weird groups that were fascinated with the Columbine shooters. So, I mean, it shows, and I was in the FBI Citizens Academy, how radicalized young people can get so easily by following these weird sites online.
Well, and we also talk a lot about copycats, and, you know, one thing will follow another in a very similar manner, right? And so for a long time, we've been talking about school shooters in general, starting pretty much with Columbine and happening very often since then. The connection that I kind of made in my own head here between these shootings was that they were both seemingly very targeted. It wasn't a student walks into a classroom and opens fire on anybody that they see. It looks like it's a very targeted act, and you have to wonder if the FBI is looking into what does the next phase of it look like. Is it this, where we're not causing mass panic and mass death and destruction, but it's a way for people to solve these issues that they cannot get over. And as you said, they get radicalized when looking at things online. So it's kind of just been an interesting development as far as victims go and what these shootings are looking like.
Yeah, we'll be talking more about this at 4:46. Really interesting. All right, it's 3:20 on WTMJ. There may be a crack in the case with Bobby Portis. Remember? He was saying that he was broken into, burglarized his River Hills home. We're going to have an update with TMJ4 investigative reporter Jenna Ray, who's on it.
Hey, John Mercure here for my friends at Dave Drakekamp Heating. When you experience temperatures 10 degrees below zero, more than 15 inches of snow, rain showers, and sunny days in the low 40s, all in a 3-week period, it can only mean one thing. You live in Wisconsin, and that prepared you to be ready for anything. Because here in Wisconsin, anything can happen with our weather. But fear not. For over 42 years, Dave Drakekamp Heating has lived here too, right by your side, ready and prepared for when anything happens. Spring, summer, fall, or winter, even when they all seem to happen at once. Whenever you're experiencing a home comfort dilemma, just call the teams I trust at Dave Drakekamp Heating. From free estimates for new equipment, routine maintenance to ensure your system is ready for anything, or because you simply have a question about your home comfort, call 262-367-2820. 262-367-2820. Dave Drakekamp Heating, because your comfort is their family's tradition. DaveDrakekamp.com.
Sun, 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 fun, 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 sun, sun, sun.
Boaters, this is your show, the Milwaukee Boat Show at State Fair Park. Over 300 boats, family runabouts, ski and surf boats, luxury pontoons, more Lake Michigan boats than ever. Tierra, Beneteau, Pursuit, Cruisers, Sea Ray, Boston Whaler, and more. Get that boat and get that deal. See Twiggy the water skiing squirrel the second weekend. Check MilwaukeeBoatShow.com, January 17th through 26th, closed Monday and Tuesday.
You're right, and I'll agree. It does sound too good to be true. but offering you affordable treatment that alleviates pain, which really does work, that we've seen in most cases insurance paid for in full, is a definite reality. It's pain relief, really. And these are FDA-approved treatments. They're safe and proven to reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Yeah, you'll have to get a couple of shots, and I know that can scare people. But the needle is extremely small. And after giving shots like this hundreds of thousands of times, you'll see we make it very easy. You're going to feel the relief that our powerful pain relief agents give you. They're pain relief drugs that solve pain problems. And the way I feel is that Rejuvenex should be the first stop for anyone living with pain in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. At $65 per joint, per injection, it's probably the most affordable pain relief option available that actually works.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex Google reviews will tell you more.
$1 for just $1 over cost. You can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. Available at all 5 Griffin stores. Just $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers. Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at accunet.com.
324 on WTMJ. Interesting developments related to the rash of robberies. High-profile athletes getting their items stolen, like the Chiefs' Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and our Milwaukee Bucks' Bobby Portis. He said his prized possessions were stolen in his River Hills home while playing a game.
I am now offering a $40K cash reward for any information or tips that leads to the return of my stolen items. You can stay anonymous and still receive the cash reward. Love.
There's been an arrest in Cleveland after the Bengals' Joe Burrow's home was burglarized during his home against the Cowboys. 4 men from Chile have been arrested after being accused of a string of burglaries, which took place in expensive homes, including Burrow's. Now, TMJ4 News investigative reporter Jenna Ray has been working to get more information into the Bobby Portis burglary. Jenna, TMJ4 is fighting the good fight, trying to get information from River Hills Police.
That's right, Julia. Last month, we actually filed a lawsuit. TMJ4 filed a lawsuit against the River Hills Police. Again, as you mentioned, the suit stems from a burglary at Bucks player Bobby Portis' home. We have been trying to get information on this burglary for several weeks. They were denying open records requests from us, and eventually, after some back and forth, they released a pretty much fully, I would say 98% redacted police report. So what that means to the everyday person is that, you know, the media and the public are able to access certain records. There is some discretion to what law enforcement agencies and government agencies can provide to us. However, we believe that they redacted too much and that they did not abide by open records laws in the state of Wisconsin. So that's kind of where the lawsuit stems from.
Jenna, I don't want to bury the lead at all. Do you know any more information beyond just that super redacted public information request?
So last Friday, we were in court with River Hills Police, and the judge did say that River Hills did too much redacting and that he was going to be doing his own redacting and that something was possibly going to be released today. We do have a status conference, which I actually believe is happening right now. So we're waiting for our attorneys to get out of that to see what comes out of that and if the judge did, you know, release some sort of not so redacted form of paperwork that we're looking for.
That's ridiculous. 98%. I mean, so it was basically you got a bunch of paperwork and it was all black.
I think it was like 30 pages of black lines. And, you know, especially in a case like this where we've now learned since Bobby Portis' burglary happened back in November, we've learned that there have been multiple star athletes across the country who have had this same incident happen to them. And after we learned about Joe Burrow's incident, as well as the criminal complaint that was released with the people who were arrested for this, we reached out to River Hills Police yesterday, asked them for an interview. All they said was that they're aware of this criminal complaint, they're aware of the arrests, and that they're working to get in touch with the proper law enforcement to kind of piece things together.
Wow. When is your report going to air today on TMJ4?
We are not doing a report today. We're waiting to, it won't be my report specifically, but we will have something in the newscast this evening, I assume. It is a status conference, so there is a chance that nothing could happen.
Right.
At court today, but we have been, continuously reporting on this over the last 2 months now. So we have some pretty in-depth reports. One of my investigations is, detailing that redacted report, and then we talk with an open records expert about, why this report was redacted. We spoke with Bill Leaders, who I know you guys are familiar with. He's the president of the Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council. We spoke with him about his group that works to protect public access to meetings and public records. And he basically told us a month ago that there can be things that they can withhold, like the name of the suspect, for an instance, maybe witnesses who were on scene, they can withhold those names. But essential information like what was taken, how they did it, since this is happening across the country, attorneys and experts seem to think that we should be privy to this information.
Wow. TMJ4 News investigative reporter Jenna Ray, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Time now for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. The market's closed for the weekend, heading in on a sour note. The Dow down 140. 44,424. The NASDAQ closed down 99.5 points at 19,954. The S&P 500 in the red as well, about 17 points at 6101. Annex Wealth Management know the difference.
It was bound to happen. Over your career, investments came along for the ride. The first 401k, brokerage account, profit sharing, employee stock options, pension, another 401k, an insurance policy, an annuity, another 401k. You get the picture. Years went by, the collection grew. At Annex Wealth Management, we believe every portfolio tells a story. After all, we've seen, reviewed, dissected, discussed, and analyzed thousands of them. Some portfolios are like well-tended gardens and reflect diligence, patience, fortitude, and optimism. Others tell the story being sold commission products that might not have been the best choice, maybe for the salesperson, but not for the investor. When the financial planning team at Annex reviews your portfolio, we spot what works and what might not, and then provide unbiased suggestions based on what's important. The retirement you desire. That's where the good stuff happens. That's our story. Every portfolio tells the story. Let's work on yours. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button. That's AnnexWealth.com.
It started with a prediction.
Go out there and play basketball and win.
And how many games?
6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
Traffic is sponsored by the famous Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill.
Buy one dinner, get one free tonight at the historic Fox and Hounds Supper Club, including steak and lobster. And desserts are buy one, get one free. Tables are open, foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 3:31. I'm Julia Fellow. Your top story this half hour, does he have enough votes?
I'm Mike Spalding in for John Mercure, complying with executive orders here in Wisconsin.
I'm Debbie Lazaga, and southbound on 41, slowing down from Silver Spring down past Capitol Drive. 43 southbound's expanding a little bit on the delays side of things, so slowing from Keith down to Locust, back on the brakes right through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Westbound 94, we do have delays from 25th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard, with the eastbound side slowing down from 76th Street all the way to Hawley Road. And we still have that accident off the freeway system on 27th Street northbound at Mangold Avenue, off on the right shoulder. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Slight chance of snow tonight. The low will be 17 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 34 degrees. Right now, it's mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 16 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, former Fox News host and President Trump's pick to be Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, is expected to be confirmed tonight. even as Republicans support waivers. ABC's Jay O'Brien.
It looks like he has the Republican votes he needs. That vote going to be around 9 o'clock tonight, depending on Senate procedure. And Hegseth does have 2 Republican no votes right now, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, the 2 moderates in the chamber. But it's unclear if they have any others joining them here. We're keeping a close eye on Mitch McConnell, the former top Republican in the Senate. He has not publicly said which way he's going to go on Hegseth. He's been very tight-lipped. He voted yes on a key procedural vote.
President Trump has said he's, quote, very surprised that 2 Republican senators pulled their support from Hegseth.
Meanwhile, the president is taking the first trip of his second administration to visit communities affected by recent disasters on either coast. His first stop today, North Carolina, which is still recovering from the after effects of Hurricane Helene. Next up, President Trump set to tour Southern California, where wildfires have killed dozens of people and wiped out several thousand acres of land.
The Trump administration pushing away from prosecutors against those who block access to reproductive rights facilities.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. The Department of Justice is curtailing prosecutions except in extraordinary circumstances or in cases with significant aggravating factors. Justice Department Chief of Staff Chad Mizell also ordered immediate dismissal of 3 cases from 2021 involving blockades of clinics in Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. This latest action follows President Trump's pardon of several abortion opponents who had blockaded abortion clinics. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
In local news, the Wisconsin National Guard website is still down this afternoon. The Guard's website says it is in compliance with the president's executive order aimed at terminating diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. To comply, the director of the Office of Management and Budget is also reviewing websites involving federal employees, forcing them to terminate all positions and language regarding DEI. The National Guard site simply says it's, quote, under maintenance to ensure compliance with the requirements of the order.
A Dane County judge is extending the pause on striking down Act 10. The Wisconsin State Journal reports that Judge Jacob Frost granted the legislature's motion for a stay pending an appeal. That was yesterday. He ruled back in December that several provisions of Act 10 were unconstitutional and unenforceable, specifically regarding collective bargaining rights for public employees. He granted a pause on its implementation 2 weeks later, pending an appeal. The case is likely to come before the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Well, they're considered the best of the best every year. This year's James Beard Award nominations are out, and Milwaukee plays a prominent role.
It's the 4th such nomination for Amalinda owner and chef Gregory Leone.
I like to explain him as the Oscars or the Grammys of the food world.
Leone, a semifinalist in the Outstanding Chef category, tells Wisconsin's Midday News his nominations are a reflection of the outstanding food scene in Milwaukee.
I think for the size of Milwaukee, we have so many amazing and talented people here cooking, and there's people who appreciate good food.
Leone is one of 8 Wisconsin chefs named to the semifinalist list. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Finalists for those awards are set to be announced in June.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All sports desk. Make that 5 in a row for the Bucks. They didn't let travel issues stop them from routing the Heat 125-96. Up next, back on a plane heading to LA to take on the Clippers for a game late tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Those are the words from the Uecker family put forth by the Milwaukee Brewers this afternoon. Bob Uecker passing away at the age of 90 last week. The Brewers sending out a message shortly ago saying, quote, the outpouring of love Bob experienced for so many during his life and the support we've received from extended family, friends, and the public since his passing has been nothing short of overwhelming. The many tributes in his honor and the messages of condolence have sustained us during this difficult time. They also said that they held a private memorial and burial for Uecker today, said that they are working with the Brewers for a public celebration of life event later on this summer. Of course, Julia, we'll get more details on what that will look like in the days and weeks to come.
Wow.
This report was sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
What are 3 things you can do during a frozen Wisconsin winter? Well, you can go skiing, or do some ice fishing, or you can take a tropical vacation with Mr. Holland's Home Services. No, despite the rumors, we're not adding a travel agency to our robust roster of services. But with Mr. Holland's help, you can enjoy a tropical getaway this winter without ever leaving your home. Bring the heat of the beach into your abode with our top-notch heating repair, replacement, and maintenance. Relax to the soothing sounds of gently cascading water provided by our prestigious plumbers. Bask in the warm glow of revitalizing light, courtesy of Mr. Holland's expert electricians. Heating, plumbing, and electric, or as we like to call it, the trifecta of tranquility. Escape to the tropics and rejuvenate your January with Mr. Holland's Home Services. 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Want to say aloha to Total Home Comfort? We can help.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano talking with Dr. Mike Nolte at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Doc, a lot of people are hesitant to visit a surgeon for spine care.
The good news is that the vast majority of patients that I see and the majority of conditions that I can see can be successfully treated without surgery. And I don't want patients to think that just because you're seeing a spine surgeon means that you're going to be signing up for surgery. We talk about in my clinic kind of a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. OrthoWisconsin.com.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
3:38 on WTMJ. Happy Friday. This huge story goes to show you there's always a Wisconsin connection to every big story. There's been a huge investigation as to who was behind terrible swatting incidents for the past 5 years. Here's what was going on and what swatting is, if you don't know what it is. Police were getting 911 calls about horrific crimes that were happening in the moment, like someone being held at gunpoint by a stranger in their home, something terrible. Here's dispatch with one of those calls. Again, it was a fake 911 call, but no one in law enforcement in the moment knows this, and this is how serious they take it.
Just killed his mother. He's now holding a gun to his sister's head. She's unconscious. He knocked her out. No one else in the house. Mother's on the kitchen floor dead.
A suspect is going to be a white male juvenile. He's 15 years old.
So descriptive, right? SWAT teams would be called, police would show up with guns drawn, and it was all fake. But the person behind this took it to the next level. The person would hack into the doorbell cameras of the home address that they gave police. And when police would arrive, the perpetrator would then mock the police who arrived on the Ring doorbell camera, even live streaming some of his interactions with police for people to watch. This was going on in November of 2020. One was in California. One fake call claimed to be a child reporting her parents had guns and were shooting inside of the house. The victim comes out of the home, and the hacker says this.
And change all your shit. Stop using the same password for everything. That's sick. We are sick. Yeah, we are disgusting. This is the 15th one today. We do this all over the United States.
That's so infuriating. The district attorney says the FBI tracked down the person, a 23-year-old from Racine, who is behind all of this. Kaya Christian Nelson, 23 years old, pled guilty yesterday in court to conspiracy and 2 counts of unauthorized access to protected computers, so other people's computers. He could face up to 15 years in prison if convicted. It's a case police all over Southern California were trying to crack because it kept on happening. Here's the San Diego police chief on CBS 8.
They think that there's some sort of emergency inside, that someone's been shot, maybe been held hostage. The idea is that it's a life-threatening emergency, which means they're not free to handle other emergencies, some that may be life-threatening in that neighborhood. We have to pull other resources from other parts of town to cover those streets. It also terrorizes a family that may have no involvement in anything, and we have to have them come outside. We have to go into the home and make sure there's no emergency. And if these folks are uninvolved, if they are completely unwitting participants in this hoax call, it's incredibly traumatic. It's a tremendous problem when it does happen, and we do our best to hold people accountable. Anytime we can work these cases and hold somebody responsible, we'd like to do that, because it's a drain on the community, it's a drain on the family or whoever the occupants of that dwelling is or are, and we do our best to make sure those people don't do it again.
That's a really good point, because in Los Angeles, the one that I mentioned about a child claiming that her parents had guns, were shooting inside the house, based on that hoax call alone, the police held the people at home at gunpoint. And while this was all happening, court records say the 23-year-old was sitting behind a computer in Racine, threatened and taunted the police officers who responded to that call. The feds say that he also worked with a 22-year-old in Arizona who was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison last year. The Racine man is accused of helping the Arizona man doing the same thing. One of them just outside Fort Myers, Florida. The hoax for that one had a fake 911 call claiming to be a man who just killed his wife, was holding a hostage, and had rigged explosives in the residence. I mean, this is serious. The suspects live streamed that and posted a message on social media taking credit for it, saying it was amusing. Not very smart. Nelson is now scheduled to be sentenced in May. He faces up to 15 years in prison again. It's 3:42 on WTMJ.
This is Libby Collins. Do you love pizza? Well, you're going to love this week's WTMJ conversation with Giacomo and Jasper Feluca from Palermo's Pizza.
My dad started making these French bread pizzas. One day, Sal Sendick sends my dad a package of Stouffer's French bread pizza. My dad calls up Sal and said, "What's this?" And then Sal said, "That's my point. You should get into this business."
WTMJ Conversations, Sunday mornings at 11 on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here, asking you to join me in October as my wife and I explore the magical kingdoms of Southeast Asia, from the villages of Vietnam and the temples of Cambodia to the friendly locals of Laos and the beachside resort in stunning, lively Thailand. I hope you'll join us for this unforgettable journey. Ancient and mysterious worlds of rural landscapes, bustling cities, and fascinating history in Vietnam. Explore the Chu Chi tunnels used by the Viet Cong. Experience a street food adventure through Hanoi and cherish the serenity of Hai Long Bay on a beautiful boat ride. Bangkok in Thailand, the beaches in Thailand, history, tradition, food. If you'd like more information on this great trip, send me an email. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. It's Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. I'm super jazzed about this trip. Send me an email. I send you the info. john.mercure, MERCURE, @WTMJ.com.
When you work at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, you'll be helping us help others. There are many that need our help, and we need your help to carry out our mission. St. Vincent de Paul is always looking for part-time team members. You'll get competitive pay, benefits, and flexibility in scheduling. So apply online at svdpmilw.org or stop by Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, or 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi for Heiser Automotive. I love talking about Heiser. Just picked up a 2023 pre-owned with very low mileage Chevy Silverado 1500 LT, beautiful glacier blue. Love it. Looks fantastic. It's got a black cloth interior. Every time I get in this truck, I say, that is amazing. 8-speed automatic transmission. Awesome mileage MPG for a truck. 24 city. Get this, 29 highway. Towing capacity. Payload is big. All the things you love about Heiser. Here's what I love about Heiser. All the great programs. Whether you're talking a pre-owned or new, Safe and Sound program, right? Vehicle exchange program, right? Love it or exchange it. Valid on new or pre-owned vehicles, which is what I was talking about. Purchase or lease for the comfort of your own home. Roadside assistance for life. All the things you love about Heiser is all the reasons why they say every day, and why I always tell people at Heiser Automotive, today's your day.
Traffic and then weather. Let's get you where you need to safely with Debbie Lazaga.
All right, Julia. Right now, we just have our usual delays on southbound 41 from just south of Silver Spring all the way down past Capitol Drive. Westbound 94 is backed up now from about 20th Street all the way through to about Hawley Road. Eastbound side's a little bit heavy from 76th Street to Hawley, and then back on the brakes coming out of the stadium interchange to 35th. Southbound 43 is still heavy right past Locust and then again through the Marquette. And then we've got the bypass, a little bit heavy on the eastbound side from 84th Street all the way through to 76th. The westbound side slow from about 27th Street all the way to Loomis. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Well, not a bad start to the weekend. Mostly cloudy skies this evening. Is a chance of a flurry or two, low 17 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a high of 34. Sunday, mostly sunny skies, a high 27. Monday, partly cloudy, 38. And on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, a high of 35 degrees. Right now, it's 16 degrees in downtown Milwaukee at 346.
U.S. authorities have arrested more than 500 migrants and deported hundreds in a mass deportation just days into President Donald Trump's second administration. We have ABC News' law enforcement reporter Luke Barr on the line. Luke, what's the latest?
Well, what we know is that for the first time in history, the military was used to conduct deportation flights. One flight was out of El Paso, Texas, and had about 75 to 80 Guatemalan nationals. The other flight was out of Tucson, Arizona, had the same amount of Guatemalan nationals, both being taken by Air Force C-17s back to Guatemala. Now, in years past, in administrations past, they have used private contractors to deport migrants, but this is certainly an escalation.
Luke, was there a reason that El Paso and Tucson were picked sort of as the first two cities to go through this?
It remains to be clear why they picked these two. Presumably, it's because the assets are close by, in Arizona and El Paso, but they haven't really given us a reason why. They picked these two sites as places to conduct their first deportation missions.
What about in Chicago? Because we're in Milwaukee, that's closest. So maybe give us a temperature on what's going to happen here in the Midwest. Do you know what happened in Chicago?
Well, it appears that ICE attempted to get into a school in Chicago, but then according to the school department, the ICE officers are not allowed in the school without a warrant, which is typical for places of that nature. But it all goes back to sort of the executive order and the memorandum that the president signed and the acting secretary implemented, which allows for ICE to go to schools, churches, and courthouses to conduct their deportation efforts.
Interesting. What kind of school? Because aren't they looking for people who have serious crimes as of right now? Were they children or were there teachers? If it was a teacher, I'd think that they would have a background check.
Well, and that's the thing about these ICE deportations. We just don't know, right? And we don't know until they tell us. And so when you talk about schools, in some cases it's parents, right? But it all kind of depends on what the enforcement operation is going to be. And the real truth is a lot of these enforcement actions that we're seeing, what people are seeing and hearing take a long time to develop, right? You think about having a violent criminal, they want to, for the safety of law enforcement and for the person they're arresting, they want to have a planned operation that, is safe and takes the criminal out of wherever the situation they are, and also protects the law enforcement officer. So sometimes these one person can take, 2 or 3 weeks.
Luke, it seems fairly significant that this is the first time that U.S. Air Force planes were involved, the U.S. military was involved. Is this, in your estimation, a sign of things to come as far as how the president's administration may work with the military and law enforcement communities to conduct these deportations?
Well, absolutely. In a memo that we had obtained, which said that the planning documents at CBP said that they could ask for as many as 10,000 troops on the border, right? Now, it's important to note that the Defense Department said they haven't heard about this number, and it was kind of an internal number that they've been floating around at CBP. But, look, it certainly is a precedent that has been set. In the president's first term, they sent troops to the border as well. There are already about 1,500 of those troops down there now. So it certainly is going to be something that we could see happen a lot in the future.
Okay, I wanted to talk about some more of those arrests because you were talking about a school. There's another one that was targeting a work site in Newark, New Jersey. Take a listen to the mayor. Details what happened when ICE agents stormed the building. It's a 17-second soundbite.
Obviously, some ICE agents raided a business in our city without a warrant. They went in the back of the establishment. We believe that there were 3 people who they say were undocumented that they detained, but they also detained folks that were, in fact, citizens.
And Luke, this includes, the mayor says, one person who was questioned even after showing a military ID. You're a ABC News law enforcement reporter, so is that okay to do?
Well, look, by ICE statute, the ICE doesn't need a warrant, to conduct specific civil enforcement. The way the statute is written, that if there's probable cause to conduct, to investigate a crime solely because of the immigration status of who they're investigating, they don't need a warrant. So it appears that this was unfortunate that it happened, and apparently they went in and detained some folks. But by the letter of the law, ICE doesn't need a warrant to conduct some of these operations. And I think a lot of the action that we're going to be seeing in the next couple of months will be sort of using that authority more broadly.
Luke, we kind of knew that these deportation efforts were going to be messy, right? The government's never really done anything like this before, certainly not so quickly after a president's been, put into office. It's been, 4 days since Inauguration Day. In your line of work, in your world, in your estimation, how much of a wrench is social media going to throw into this? Because I can go on my X account right now and you see reports of stuff, and then an hour later it turns out that it's not true. It just seems like social media's influence over this, over misinformation, what's real, what's not, can just muddy the waters even more than they're already going to be. Do you see that being a pretty big issue as far as getting the correct information out there?
Well, I think that you're going to have a lot of situations where the information might not be fully, read. I mean, you see, I even was on social media last night, and I saw, a bunch of cop cars, and it was, being reported as an ICE raid, and I, was like, what the heck's this? So, I think you're going to see a lot of that stuff underway, and it's important, for viewers and listeners and readers to kind of do a double check of what they're actually seeing. Go always to a second source to see what they're actually seeing, because it might not seem as if it might not be that what it is you're seeing on social media. It might be old. It might be dated. It might be something that's. So I always recommend just doing a second layer of investigation. I mean, people are smart, and they can get to the truth of really what's going on, but it just might take a little bit of time.
And Luke, you're an ABC News law enforcement reporter. So here's my question for you. We were talking about how they were even going into Chicago schools, but they weren't able to get in today, at least. And they're also possibly going into churches. Aren't churches like off limits? Can't ICE not go into churches? I don't know. I didn't think that they could go into churches.
Well, and they couldn't in the prior administration. There was sort of a moratorium on all those. They call them sensitive areas. But now in the current administration, they've sort of unlocked. They've put a pause on, or I guess more rescinded that guidance that they can't go into sensitive areas, and now they can, especially if they believe that a violent, undocumented migrant is in one of those places. ICE said that, they can use their discretion, but at the end of the day, they do have the ability, if they need to go into those sensitive areas.
ABC News law enforcement reporter Luke Barr, thank you so much. If I had my microphone on, you would have heard that the first time.
No
Thank
problem.
you so
Have
much.
a good week, guys.
Thank you. 3:56 on WTMJ. Here's your business headlines.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Plans to begin construction on a 60-room hotel move ahead in Waukesha. Cobblestone Hotels will also include an indoor pool and a Wissota Chop House restaurant when it opens in the summer of 2026. Fortune Brands Innovations Incorporated makes plans to close its Master Lock Company offices in Oak Creek, ending the company's 104-year history in Metro Milwaukee. The move is part of a company-wide office consolidation and will affect 120 employees. Modine Manufacturing Company plans to open an operation in Franklin that is expected to generate 200 full-time jobs by 2029. Modine's Advanced Thermal Systems product group will lease 153,000 square feet at 3303 West Oakwood Road. I'm Linda Spice for MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Artwork, especially original artwork, can be pricey. But when you take it in on consignment from nice people like you who are just ready to change the look of their home, you can price it right. And you'll find a lot of it at Design Exchange. Beautiful frame pieces by a number of notable artists. And new ones pop in all the time. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love my dogs, Bella and Baxter, an important part of our family. They're kind of like kids sometimes, and like kids, they weren't always listening, but I've got it figured out now. Thanks to Matt and his teams at Sit Means Sit Dog Training, our dogs are better behaved. They don't bark as much. They just listen better. They're happy, confident, obedient. Our house is a better house. Sit Means Sit Dog Training turned it around for us. Let them do the same for you. You can start with a free consultation. The website is sitmeanssitwaukesha.com. Sitmeanssitwaukesha.com.
Rock legend Billy Idol. Live in Milwaukee. Billy Idol.
Nice day to.
It's a nice day to tour again. With very special guest Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Live at American Family Insurance Amphitheater, August 31st. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. For more, visit BillyIdol.net.
Does hosting for the holidays make you realize you need a home remodel? As a family-owned and operated business for over 40 years, J&J Contractors knows the importance of family gathering. Let them customize the perfect kitchen, luxurious bathroom, or a finished lower level for all your entertaining needs. Turn your house into the home of your dreams with J&J Contractors. Schedule your free consultation today. Just Google J&J Contractors or call 414-423-9200. J&J Contractors. Welcome home.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
This report sponsored by Exterior Pros and Baths. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation. Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. Visit extpros.com today.
Your locally owned hometown station gives you the news and what it means to you. Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It is 4 o'clock. I'm Julia Fellow. This is Wisconsin's Afternoon News for Friday, January 24th. Your top story, extending the pause on striking down Act 10.
I'm Mike Spalding in for John Mercure, pulling support for Pete Hegseth.
I'm Debbie Loziga, and westbound 94. We got a little bit of a backup there from about 16th Street, pretty much through the stadium interchange all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound's got a heavy pocket from 76th Street to Mitchell Boulevard, and then again through the stadium interchange to about 35th. Southbound 43, pretty quiet. Got some delays right through the Marquette itself. And then southbound 41, heavy from Silver Spring to Capitol Drive. I'm Debbie Loziga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Slight chance of snow tonight. The low will be 17 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 34 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, big news out of our state this afternoon. A Dane County judge extending the pause on striking down Act 10. The Wisconsin State Journal reports that Judge Jacob Frost granted the legislature's motion for a stay pending an appeal. This happened yesterday. He ruled last month that several provisions of Act 10 were unconstitutional and unenforceable, specifically regarding collective bargaining rights for public employees like teachers. He granted a pause in its implementation 2 weeks later, pending appeal. The case is likely to appear before the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
The U.S. Senate moving towards a vote tonight on Pete Hegseth's nomination to become President Trump's Secretary of Defense. Democrats are all expected to oppose and have been vocal on the floor today. Among those speaking, New Jersey's Andy Kim.
But there is talking about change, and there is actually having the skills and the capacity to implement change. The Department of Defense is our largest employer in our government, and one that requires critical leadership.
And 2 Republican senators have indicated they will not be voting for Hegseth due to allegations regarding his personal life, excessive drinking, and financial mismanagement of veterans groups.
The president is taking his first trip of his second administration today to visit communities recovering from recent disasters. He just did that earlier today. Here's CBS' Erica Brown.
During his North Carolina stop, the president said he will sign an executive order to reform, overhaul, or dismantle FEMA, the federal agency responsible for responding to disasters.
Calling FEMA, they want to bring people that aren't as good as the people you already have, and FEMA's turned out to be a disaster.
The president stopped first in North Carolina. He surveyed the after effects of Hurricane Helene, met with some affected families. Right now, he's in the air headed to Southern California to tour the deadly wildfires.
Here in Milwaukee, we're dealing with a fresh round of snow for earlier this week. But when we stack 2025 up against winters prior, where are we stacking up? TMJ4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson.
11.9 inches so far for our season. That is about maybe half of what we should have seen already to date. And then it's around a quarter of our total annual snowfall. So we're running behind, but we still do have more than half of our snow season to go.
So when will we see snow next? You can find out in our WTMJ 5-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Another indicator of how long cold temperatures will stick around here is for Groundhog Day. But the Milwaukee County Zoo is substituting them for goats this year. They're using Nigerian dwarf goats to handle this year's Groundhog Day weather prediction. This will be February 2nd. The zoo has been using substitute animals since Gordy the groundhog died 2 years ago. Last year, the zoo's Humboldt penguins made the prediction.
From goats to pandas to bucks, we've got it all coming up next.
Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 4:04.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Is outdoor living limited at your place? Well, imagine a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, maybe even an outdoor kitchen in your yard. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local, family-owned company that consults, designs, and builds these things. And they're the best. Let them make Outdoor Living Unlimited in your yard like they did in ours. We are Wisconsin. We live outdoors as much as possible. Make the most of it with help from Outdoor Living Unlimited. See OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Team up with the Brewers for an epic company event this season. Gather your crew of just 15 or more for a Brewers group outing and trade weekday meetings for a fun-filled day at American Family Field. Featuring options like tailgate spaces, all-inclusive areas, seating blocks, and more. Plus, Brewers ticket representatives will make planning your event easy, as they'll be your concierge while you book your event. Start planning your company outing today at brewers.com/groups.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 4:06.
You can finally visit new giant pandas at the National Zoo. They made their long-awaited debut.
DC students joined Smithsonian officials and the Chinese ambassador to welcome giant pandas back to the National Zoo.
Washington, D.C.
is no longer unbearable.
You can now see Bao Li and Qing Bao eat bamboo and play around in their upgraded habitats.
We will be here tomorrow, we will be here Sunday, we will be here Monday to see them.
Deputy Director Stephanie Brinley says the male is outgoing and playful, while the female is curious and cautious.
Oh my gosh, we were so excited to welcome the pandas back, and especially, more importantly, to welcome our fans back to see the pandas.
You can also watch them live on the popular Giant Panda Cam.
Okay, I guess it's gonna go take a nap.
At the National Zoo, Lynn Bowie for CBS News.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Milwaukee Bucks have now won 5 consecutive games. This after they routed the Miami Heat last night. Damian Lillard scored 29 in the Bucks win. They're now getting back on a plane heading west to Los Angeles, where the Bucks take the Clippers on Saturday night. A big night of college basketball is on tap in southeast Wisconsin. 10th-ranked Marquette hosts Villanova at 6 o'clock at Fiserv Forum. You can catch that game over on our sister station, 94.5 ESPN. And the UWM Panthers are at Northern Kentucky. You can catch that game on 101.7 The Truth starting at 6 o'clock as well. And Bob Uecker was laid to rest during a private ceremony today. Uecker passed away at the age of 90 last week after fighting through small cell lung cancer. Uecker's family says they are currently working with the Brewers on a public celebration of life this coming summer.
Outdoor Living and Limited News Time, 4:08.
James Imaging Systems, local support, local accountability, local business technology representatives. Listen to Matheson Manufacturing President Al Leidinger.
She still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything, so I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
Michael Quizan, IT Systems Administrator at Great Midwest Bank, discovered the benefits of working with the local team at James.
Our cost from supplies perspective went down. I mean, we're talking about thousands in a year. So we saved a lot of money by bringing James Imaging on.
James Imaging Systems client Luther Gray, Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra on dealing with James.
They are making sure you get the full value and life of every product that you have with them.
Local support, local accountability, local people. Get it all with James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, Julia Fellow and Mike Spalding.
John is back on Monday. He was dealing with all that snow.
So much for a vacation for John Mercure.
In Hilton Head, South Carolina. Boy, he has some really good stories. He'll be joining you on Monday. Happy Friday, everybody. I wanted to tell you about a really serious story because it caught my eye this morning when I was looking through all the stories. I spend about an hour every morning looking at what we could put in the show, and I was so struck and sad over this. But it's important to know about this. A Dane County judge just appointed a special prosecutor to look into animal cruelty allegations. This is at a farm that breeds beagles for medical experiments. Now, beagles are often used in medical experiments because they're considered very docile. Court records show there have been whistleblowers and years of repeated violation on Rigland Farm in Franksville, Wisconsin. This is in Dane County, which at last count had about 3,200 beagles, according to court records. And this part is tough. Court records accuse workers of performing surgeries on the beagles there without any anesthesia, sometimes, and putting them into cages while still bleeding. And with less than 20 workers, the suit claims that each dog would only get maybe less than 4 minutes with each dog a day when they timed it all out. Stephen Seitz was on WISC Madison. He's an attorney with the Animal Activist Legal Defense Project, and he says there's been documented cruelty for years.
It's been years where Ridgeland has been acting with impunity, hurting dogs, and we've just been trying to get the dog's day in court. And I think the judge made the right decision. And so we're feeling very optimistic that this is the first step in getting these dogs home, getting these dogs to loving homes and outside of the horrendous conditions at Ridgeland.
What's really interesting, Mike, is that this is only one of 2 farms in the entire country that has a large dog breeding farm like this to be used for medical experiments. There were 3. So The other one that was just shut down was in Wisconsin. It was shut down by federal authorities. In Vigo Medical Facility in Cumberland County, the dogs were seized there, beagles, who were in need of immediate care and levied the largest fine in the history of animal welfare violations just last year, which was $35 million. It's 4:11 on WTMJ. Wisconsin's afternoon continues. Some really fun news, and also we're looking into the assassination attempts, or the actual assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK. We talk about that coming up.
Wisconsin winters are unpredictable.
This is history. Never had a tornado touchdown in February.
We keep you updated on blizzards.
Winter storm warning has been issued for all of southeast Wisconsin, and it's going to get really, really dicey.
Blackouts.
Tens of thousands of customers across southeast Wisconsin are without power this morning.
Icy roads.
Very, very slick conditions pretty much everywhere.
And more. With WTMJ Fleet Farm Storm Team alerts. On air and at WTMJ.com.
John Mercure here for the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. An estimated 1 million Americans live with Parkinson's disease. With 90,000 new cases each year, Parkinson's is a progressive brain disease that affects movement and can also impact mood, memory, and sleep. Dr. Ryan Brennan, a neurologist with the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, shares how their team provides personalized care. Hear it along with all of our past everyday health discussions by clicking the drop-down menu at WTMJ.com.
Experience, knowledge, results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
This is Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. I'm reaching out with a message that's close to my heart. Devastating fires have ravaged the Los Angeles area, leaving families displaced, homes destroyed, and the community in need of help. Right now, you have the power to make a real difference. Your donation, big or small, can provide food, shelter, supplies, and much-needed support for those affected by the fires. If you are able to, please help those affected by the California wildfires and donate at www.lafoodbank.org/fire.
Traffic is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores. Highway 100 and Layton Avenue in Greenfield. 23rd and Lincoln and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee. Great bargains and a great cause. You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
Traffic and then weather. Let's get you where you need to safely with our Debbie Lazaga. Hey, Deb.
Hey, Julia, things are actually looking pretty good. 43 is pretty quiet all the way down into the Marquette. Everything's good. We got westbound 94 tightening up just a bit from just before 27th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound's going to be slow from 84th Street to Hawley, and then back on the brakes from Mitchell Boulevard to about 35th Street. Southbound on 41, just a little bit heavy right past Capitol Drive. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Mostly cloudy skies overnight tonight. Chance of flurries, a low 17 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a high 34. Sunday, sunny, a high 27. Monday, mild temperatures continue. Partly cloudy skies, a high of 38 degrees. And on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, a high of 35. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it's 16 degrees at 4:15.
I'ma need some whiskey glasses, 'cause I don't wanna see the truth.
Welcome back to Wisconsin's Afternoon News. I'm Mike Spalding, joined by Julia Fellow. Isaac is producing the show. Gina is writing the news for us. So stop if you've heard this one before, Julia. A major concert announcement is forthcoming.
Ladies and gentlemen, up next, one of the most popular pop stars in the world, singing his hit song, Love Somebody, Mr. Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, country star Morgan Wallen is coming to the Badger State this summer. UW-Madison confirming that Wallen set to perform at Camp Randall Stadium June 28th as part of his I'm the Problem 2025 tour. Joining Wallen will be Miranda Lambert and Ella Langley. So this means that Wallen will actually be the first musical act to play Camp Randall since 1997. Coldplay, which announced plans to bring their Music of the Spheres World Tour through Camp Randall late last year, was going to be the first, so their show's not until July. So Morgan Wallen will be the first concert that is at the Badgers football stadium in about 3 decades. A couple of things here stuck out to me. One, the dual concert announcements come a little less than a year after UW-Madison approved liquor sales in the stadium. And while it's never been said outright, the lack of beer and liquor sales, I'm sure, hampered concerts from filling up that stadium.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Journal Sentinel's Pete Levy said so much in his article in the JS today. Now, it's not a barrier, but you can imagine that an artist and a booking agency and probably the university itself would like to be able to serve alcohol during a concert to help cover some of the costs. Because when you consider a show and a Morgan Wallen, where it's not just a guy on stage with a guitar, it's a massive production. Mm-hmm. You know what that does when you look at like Summerfest, the huge footprint that these stadium-sized stages bring. It's a major deal. So
the last time he performed was in Milwaukee a couple years ago at American Family Field.
Yes, 2 years ago actually. And the second thing that stuck out to me here is the continued dominance of country music. As you mentioned, in 2023, Wallen became the first artist to play back-to-back stadium shows in Milwaukee. He accomplished that feat at American Family Field in April of that month. It's not just Wallen, though. Country acts are very successful touring acts. They're among the highest grossing tours in the whole world. Count Summerfest is one. The Morgan Wallen information comes a year where Lainey Wilson's going to headline the AmFam this coming year. Kane Brown was last year. Keith Urban last year. Eric Church and Zach Brown the year prior.
Oh.
So country music is as popular, and I'm not breaking any news here, as it's ever been before. But Camp Randall, the largest venue in Wisconsin, over 80,000 seats, will house its first concert coming up in June of this year, June 28th
It's
to be
a
exact.
magical stadium.
It really is.
I've been there for games, of course, and they do the wave. They almost have like a seismic event with everybody like
it shakes.
going like this. Yeah, it shakes.
I can imagine a Morgan Wallen concert will bring some shaking there to the stands at Camp Randall. So tickets go on sale on January 31st. Again, Morgan Wallen, Camp Randall, June 28th.
It's 4:18 on WTMJ. Wisconsin's Afternoon continues. Right after this, we're going to be talking about the release of all the records into the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We are going to be talking about that. Why an expert says you shouldn't be too excited. Next.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. At BBC, we sell all the top brands of lights and ceiling fans, such as Visual Comfort, Tech, Schoenbeck Crystal, and hundreds more. We get every brand, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. In our award-winning showroom, you'll also find factory closeouts with lights and fans priced well below their original cost. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 4, and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's, near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
The legendary music of Pink Floyd as you've never heard before, live in concert with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. Featuring conductor Brent Havens and vocalist Randy Jackson, including a full rock band. Friday, February 7th at the Riverside Theater. Tickets on sale now at BabsTheaterGroup.com.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, protection and income are the keys to success. Simply put, if you're nearing or in retirement, you can't afford a stock market crash. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game film was a key to success. Now I'm a best-selling author and star in a new groundbreaking documentary film called The Retirement Deception. It unveils how the Wall Street machine has been deceiving us for decades and proves you don't need to risk your nest egg in the market to have the retirement you deserve. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. I want you to watch this film for free. Call today for your free copy of The Retirement Deception. I think you would agree 30 to 40 years of saving for retirement is at least worth a phone call to watch this film and see how you can improve your retirement. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free copy of The Retirement Deception. Call 844-763-2837. That's 844-763-2837. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Explore outdoor living this Saturday from Eric Brown, the president of Outdoor Living Unlimited. He knows his stuff. They expand your living space with decks, patios, fire pits, even outdoor kitchens, and can show you a virtual reality of it all for starters. Outdoor Living Unlimited did a great job at the Matzik household. We love it. So listen and call Eric this Saturday on WTMJ's Fix It Show and check out OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Welcome back to Wisconsin's Afternoon News. Very quiet right now.
It's a somber story.
It is. It is. So many of us are waiting with bated breath for the release of all the records into the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So attached to that executive order were deadlines for them to be public. So the files into President Kennedy assassination must be released within 15 days, so 14 days to go. And 45 days for the full release of all records into the assassinations of Senator Robert F. Kennedy and Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. I wanted to bring you this interview that I was just looking at on ABC News. They had with co-author and author of the case called Case Closed. It's a book. It dismantles so many conspiracies of the JFK. And the guy's name is Gerald Posner. He was also in the Frontline documentary on who was Lee Harvey Oswald. It was pivotal in bringing questions up on television on what happened the day President Kennedy was assassinated. He also wrote a lot of books looking into the assassination of MLK. He says, do not get your hopes up on learning a lot. But here's what he's looking for.
There are some files that are still sealed. There's a document in there on Mexican intelligence information was gathered on Oswald when Lee Harvey Oswald visited Mexico City only 6 weeks before the assassination. And it might disclose the extent to which the CIA knew how unbalanced Oswald was, and they didn't tell the FBI. So there could be some embarrassing things in here. It'll be interesting for history. But I don't think what most Americans are looking for, which is a smoking gun document that will turn the case on its head and say, hey, here's who killed Kennedy, who was really part of the secret government, and here are the people involved. That's not going to happen.
So after 30 years of investigating all of this himself, Posner says he believes in the JFK assassination, there was one shooter, and through all of his investigations for decades, he believes it was just Oswald.
It went to the Soviet Union. He went after he was in the Marine Corps and said, you know, I'm turning up here and I want to be part of the Russian Revolution. Then he hated it there. He thought that they had ruined communism. Came back to America and thought that this was equally bad. And then he looked to get to Cuba, but he was turned down in his travel plans by both the Soviets and by the Cubans. And when he came back to America in early October, only 6 weeks before Kennedy visited Dallas, he was dejected and in the worst mood he had been in. He had just failed a few months earlier to try to shoot and kill a retired Army general. So Oswald was sort of a powder keg ready to explode. And the president ends up taking a motorcade route that goes right in front of where Oswald works. It's one of those things you couldn't make up out of a movie, but it happened in reality.
Okay, so let's go to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. The daughter of the late civil rights leader just spoke to a news agency called The Grio and said that she contends there's still a search for answers. She believes it was a government conspiracy, she told reporters there, by federal and state and local governments, including the Memphis Police Department. She also said James Earl Ray, the man convicted in King's assassination, was used as a diversion with the gun that he had. Now, Gerald Posner, who also wrote Killing the Dream, James Earl Ray, and the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., said this.
When it comes to the families, RFK Jr., the King family, it's very emotional. They're involved in a lot of things, especially the King family. They know that the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover ran the FBI, They were after Martin Luther King. They were trying to disgrace him. They had illegal surveillance on him on his personal life. So when he was killed, of course, they feel, it just can't be this guy, James Earl Ray, who did it on his own. I'm convinced from my own reinvestigation of the case, I published those results in 98, James Earl Ray was the fellow who shot Martin Luther King that day in Memphis. The question has always been, did he do it again for himself or as part of a plot? I think he did it for money that was coming out of the Midwest from a racist who was offering a bounty of up to $50,000 on Dr. King.
He says if people are not satisfied when all these documents are released, he believes what could happen next, Mike, is that a Truth and Reconciliation Commission might be made up and to look for more, where Robert F. Kennedy would be the lead in getting involved.
So he kind of poo-pooed the idea of a smoking gun coming out.
A second shooter or
some sort of conspiracy coming out here. Are you a conspiracy theorist? I won't even say, are you a conspiracy theorist? Is this something that's interesting to you? Like, if these documents come out, are you going to be on the phone reading them?
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to be disappointed then if you're not blown away by some detail?
Yes, I
will
be. So
you want something big to come out of this? Like, you want it to be like, take the top off this thing?
I mean, the president did say when he was writing this, all will be revealed. And then, this
Do
guy's...
you think he knows what all is?
I think he looked into it. He must know, but he was interviewed by Joe Rogan, and when he was running for a second term, he said, there's some people that are still alive that are implicated that you can't say. There's also like tax returns, social security numbers, everything with these suspects. So I don't know. I don't know what could still be redacted.
Yeah, what I'm looking forward to is a fan of history, like documentarians now being able to finally paint a complete picture, right? If they come out, like, you can now have a definitive documentary or a series or whatever it is on John F. Kennedy, because we're going to know everything that we need to know, or what we think everything that we need to know is. So I'm looking forward to that. But as your piece said, they're due to have a plan to release them in 2 weeks. It's not they're not coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
A plan to release them. So it's unfortunate to kind of temper our expectations there, but I think I'm with you. I'll be on the iPad at night, like just scrolling
I'm
through
into
the
all
pages.
of this, always. It's 4:28 on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here, asking you to join me in October as my wife and I explore the magical kingdoms of Southeast Asia, from the villages of Vietnam and the temples of Cambodia to the friendly locals of Laos and the beachside resort in stunning, lively Thailand. I hope you'll join us for this unforgettable journey. Ancient and mysterious worlds of rural landscapes, bustling cities, and fascinating history in Vietnam. Explore the Chu Chi tunnels used by the Viet Cong. Experience a street food adventure through Hanoi and cherish the serenity of Hai Long Bay on a beautiful boat ride. Bangkok in Thailand, the beaches in Thailand, history, tradition, food. If you'd like more information on this great trip, send me an email. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. It's Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. I'm super jazzed about this trip. Send me an email. I send you the info. john.mercure, MERCURE, @WTMJ.com.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
I'm Brett Matschke, and you're due for service.
Richlawns Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlawns.com when you're due for service.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 4:30. I'm Julia Fellow. Your top story this half hour, a case most likely heading to the state Supreme Court.
I'm Mike Spalding in for John Mercure. New details ahead of a major Senate vote.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. Eastbound 94 starting to slow down just a little bit east of Barker Road past Brookfield Road. Back on the brakes from just before 84th Street all the way through the Stadium interchange. And the westbound side's also backing up from 25th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Southbound 43, watch for backups basically in pockets all the way down from Fond du Lac Avenue through the Marquette. And then on 41 southbound, a little heavy, just south of Capitol Drive. By the time you hit Burleigh, you should be good to go. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Slight chance of snow tonight. The low will be 17 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 34 degrees. Right now in Milwaukee, partly sunny at 16 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, this afternoon, a Dane County judge extended the pause on striking down Act 10. The Wisconsin State Journal reports that Judge Jacob Frost granted the legislature's motion for a stay, pending an appeal yesterday. Frost ruled back last month that several provisions of Act 10 were unconstitutional and unenforceable, specifically regarding collective bargaining rights for public employees like teachers. He granted a pause in its implementation 2 weeks later, pending appeal. And this case is all likely to come before the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
In Washington, D.C., the confirmation vote for Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth is still on for tonight. The former Fox News host is expected to be confirmed amidst a swirl of misconduct allegations, and new details continue to emerge. ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Sources tell ABC News Pete Hegseth paid a woman $50,000 to settle a sexual assault claim in 2017. Hegseth has said the allegation is false and the encounter entirely consensual. His attorney saying he only settled because he feared his career would suffer if the allegations went public.
We're going to take a deeper dive into the Hegseth nomination situation coming up on Wisconsin's Afternoon News in just a couple of moments.
Reported ICE raids in cities like Boston, Chicago, and New York City this week have officials there concerned about agents targeting schools. White House policy advisor and Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller was asked if ICE agents will be sent to schools.
Could you imagine telling a police officer that he couldn't do a child welfare check, or telling an FBI agent that he couldn't investigate a case of child neglect or abuse? It is essential that all law enforcement partners have unrestricted access.
Last hour, we had ABC News investigative reporter Luke Barr talking about this. He said that Chicago schools actually had ICE enforcement come to their schools, didn't allow them in because they didn't have a warrant. The Department of Homeland Security reported one department departed from El Paso, Texas. Another military flight left Tucson, Arizona overnight.
An early morning fire at a home in Waukesha leaves one person dead. And firefighters say they responded just after 3 o'clock to heavy smoke and fire coming from a mobile home near Elder and Grandview. Crews were able to remove one person from the home. However, that victim did die at the scene. A pet, they say, was also rescued and is in the care of the Humane Animal Welfare Society of Waukesha. Firefighters continuing to put out hot spots for several hours in the freezing cold conditions.
An early morning mobile home fire leaves one person dead in Waukesha. Firefighters... Oh, I'm so sorry. Just read that. A man in Marinette County has died after crashing his car into a house last night. 23-year-old Brady Walters of Marinette failed to negotiate a curve, going off the road into a ditch and eventually hitting a house. He was not wearing a seatbelt and died at the scene. Police say alcohol and speed may have contributed to this accident.
The owner and head chef at Milwaukee's Amalinda restaurant is now a semifinalist for a coveted James Beard Award. Marks the fourth time that Gregory Leone has reached the semifinal stage.
Each category contains 20 semifinalists. Leone, a semifinalist in the Outstanding Chef category. So what does that mean?
And so now there's secret judges who come into your establishment, and then they narrow it down to 5.
Leone believes the food and experience speak for themselves.
You know, we like to feed everybody and treat everybody the same way. So a judge is going to get treated great whether we know it's them or not.
Finalists will be announced in June. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Other semifinalists from Milwaukee include Bryant's Cocktail Lounge in the Outstanding Bar category and Agency of Milwaukee for Best New Bar.
Time for a WTMJ Sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. We've just learned Bob Uecker was laid to rest in a private ceremony today. He died at the age of 90 last week from small cell lung cancer. The family is working with the Brewers on a celebration of life for this coming summer. make that 5 in a row for the Bucks. They didn't let travel issues stop them from routing the Heat 125 to 96. Up next, they're back on a plane heading to LA to take on the Clippers for a late game tomorrow. Badger men and women take on the Ice in Madison this weekend with a home series. The number 1 ranked women face St. Cloud State tomorrow and Sunday at LeBron Arena. The men face number 10 Michigan at the Kohl Center tonight. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. Badger Sports updates are sponsored by Sighting Unlimited, Sighting, and a whole lot more.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 436.
We've saved our clients over $19 million in real estate commission. I say this because that's a pretty big number. But at Century 21 Benefit Realty, it's really not about being a top volume agency. Over here, it's more about you. And at 1.9% commission and no more than $19,000 commission, for the listing side of your sale, no matter what size property you're selling, you will save substantially. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News on WTMJ.
Welcome back to Wisconsin's Afternoon News. I'm Mike Spalding in for John Mercure. Joining me in studio is Julia Fellow. Julia, big day in Washington, D.C. today. This is confirmation hearings continue for President Donald Trump's cabinet nominees. The Senate tonight set to vote on the confirmation of the president's embattled pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. While an embattled pick, Hegseth is heading into tonight's final vote with some confidence after what was essentially a practice vote on Thursday. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
The former Fox News host cleared the procedural hurdle with 51 votes in favor and 49 against. 2 Republicans, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine, joined Senate Democrats in voting no on Pete Hegseth's nomination. A final vote is still in store, but it appears Hegseth will have enough support to be narrowly confirmed.
So you heard Portnoy there saying Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins. They both joined Democrats in voting against Hegseth's nomination, both also releasing public statements overnight justifying their decisions. More on that from CBS's Errol Barnett.
Both women shared lengthy statements citing Hegseth's stance on women serving in the military as a key reason. Murkowski's statement reads in part, quote, "I remain concerned about the message that confirming Mr. Hegseth sends to women currently serving and those aspiring to join."
While those 2 no votes won't be enough to derail the confirmation tonight, Republicans do have little room for further dissent. Those around Capitol Hill not thinking it'll be much of an issue. However, President Trump told reporters today that there is another possible no vote out there, and it's one he's concerned about.
I was very surprised that Collins and Murkowski would do that. And, of course, Mitch is always a no vote, I guess.
Mitch, that'll be Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell. McConnell has been on record calling some of the president's nominees, quote, alarming. And it goes beyond just some of the concerns that you heard from Earl Barnett there. Also new details this week regarding an alleged payout by Pete Hegseth to a woman who accused him of sexual assault.
Sources tell ABC News Pete Hegseth paid a woman $50,000 to settle a sexual assault claim in 2017. Hegseth has said the allegation is false and the encounter entirely consensual. His attorney saying he only settled because he feared his career would suffer if the allegations went public.
So that news brought to you by ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Because that was during the Me Too time.
Yes, 2017 is when those allegations came down, and it was one of the few things that senators did not ask about because it was unknown at the time, where he sat in front of the panel of lawmakers. And while Hegseth may be the one sucking up all the oxygen in the room, there are still a number of cabinet positions that still need to be voted on by the Senate, some of which could get contentious. I mean, we're looking at former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who is up for position of the Director of National Intelligence, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for the role of heading up the Department of Health and Human Services, and one local one, and I don't think it'll be as contentious, but Sean Duffy, former congressman in the Green Bay area, is Trump's nominee for transportation secretary. So all those things, and there's still like 20 some others that need to get confirmed. So the confirmation hearing tonight for Pete Hegseth is expected to conclude about 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 Eastern Time, and it looks like it's going to all go through. 2 public dissensions in those 2 those 2 senators. We have Mitch McConnell, who could be a no. Republicans still have wiggle room for one more no, which it doesn't seem like at the time is going to be coming down. So by the end of the day today, we could have a new defense secretary in Pete Hegseth.
What's really interesting is that a lot of the senators say, the Republican senators say they've been inundated with calls.
I'm sure.
And they said, please stop calling my office. I'm going to vote yes. So I thought that was interesting. Everything, his alcohol use was used, and brought up that he was drunk a lot of times, even on air on Fox News. So many allegations, including the one this week I thought was, whoa. That was really disturbing, with his former sister-in-law who says his second wife would have code words if there was something not good going down. Yeah, that was...
There was a lot of back and forth when Brett Kavanaugh was up for U.S. Supreme Court.
Right.
That was really kind of the first one that I really remember that there was like almost wall-to-wall coverage. We had that when Jeff Sessions was picked and Trump's first term was getting underway. But that was the first one where it was really contentious. And part of me, and we've both worked in this industry for a long time, can't help but look at what's happening right now is just politics as it's always played, because we know, right, there can be no votes. And we know how it goes when you're in a room with lawmakers. Everyone's negotiating something. So Susan Collins, you need to vote no. That's fine. Go ahead and vote no, because ultimately it's not going to mean anything.
And Hegseth left his Fox News job. I didn't realize he was a weekend morning anchor. He was making 7 figures. Whoa.
A lot riding on it for Pete Hegseth.
Yes. And the vote will be at what time?
8 o'clock Central Time is when they're expecting it to come down.
Okay. It's 4:43 on WTMJ. Wisconsin's afternoon news continues after this. We're going to talk about the Nashville shooter. The school shooter had a connection to the Madison school shooter. And also the chief of Madison Police, who's outgoing, has an opinion on school resource officers. And we also talk about Milwaukee Public Schools. They were supposed to have 25 school resource officers in January of last year. We update you next.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. I've got a great idea for your weekend. It's going to be fun. It's going to be informative. It's going to be good if you're a couple, great if you're a family. How about this? Check out Experience Wisconsin. It is Saturdays at 1 o'clock on WTMJ. On this week's show, I am jazzed. Elkhart Lake and the Simon and Garfunkel story. A great location and a great event. We cover it all. It's Experience Wisconsin. Saturdays at 1 on WTMJ. Join us. Some great ideas and some great information. It is Experience Wisconsin.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Elizabeth and John bought their starter home 8 years ago, BC, as in before children. Now, with 2 elementary school-age kids, they wanted to make a move to the suburbs for a bigger home with more yard. But they didn't know if or how they could buy their next home without selling their current one. Fortunately, a friend who was a multi-time AccuNet client connected them with us, and we soon determined they could, in fact, afford to buy without selling first, which was a big relief to them and their real estate agent. Armed with an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval, it still took several weeks to find the right home for the next chapter in their life. But I'm happy to report that Elizabeth, John, and their boys opened their presents on Christmas morning in their new home after closing just a few days before. Whether you're buying your first home or your next home, go with the pros who have all the tools and know-how to make your home buying experience as smooth and successful as humanly possible. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I at least like to think I'm an expert when it comes to football, but I know Excel are truly experts when it comes to the art of deck building. With the finest materials and products combined with their superior craftsmanship, they'll deliver exceptional quality and value on everything from backyard decks to pergolas and outdoor kitchens. If you can dream it, Rob and his family can build it. Family-owned Excel Custom Decks delivers decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com to learn more.
So how do you underpromise and still get the job? We believe in our hearts we're going to do great work for you. We're just really careful about making unrealistic promises. At Semper Fi, we refuse to set the bar higher than we can jump. But be assured, that's the goal, to do all we can to jump as high as possible to try to exceed your expectations. We're looking to break records. That's how you win over customers, get really great referrals, and build a great business. When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
$1 for just $1 over cost. You can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. Available at all 5 Griffin stores. Just $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Let's get you into safely with our Debbie Lazica. Hey, Deb, how are the roads?
Hey, Julia. Yeah, we're looking at a pretty good ride along 43. It's been pretty quiet all afternoon. Just starts to tighten up a little bit just as you're getting through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge, heading down towards the KK River. Northbound's a little bit tight, heading up between Holt and Oklahoma Avenues. That's a little spot right there. We got eastbound 94 slowing down from Barker Road to Brookfield Road, back on the brakes from just before 84th Street all the way through the Stadium interchange. And the westbound 94, we got some backups from about 27th Street all the way past Hawley Road. I'm Debbie Lazica with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, mostly cloudy skies overnight tonight. Chance of flurries in southeast Wisconsin, a low 17. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a mild, a high 34. Sunday, mostly sunny skies, a high of 27. Monday, cloudy 38. Tuesday, mild temps continue. Partly cloudy skies, a high of 35 degrees. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it's 15 degrees at 447.
We broke on our show the news of the horrific Nashville shooting this week. A 17-year-old student, Solomon Henderson, is accused of opening fire in the cafeteria of Antioch High School. This was Wednesday of this week. It killed a 16-year-old student, a girl hurting another student who's 17, expected to survive. The shooter then turned the gun on himself. And there's word of a connection that the shooter may have had with the shooting suspect in Madison. 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, she opened fire at Abundant Life Christian School last month. It was so scary when that happened for a lot of parents, families. Rupnow died in the shooting, and 2 were killed, several wounded. Law enforcement sources are now telling ABC News it shows the Madison shooter and Nashville shooter were following each other online at the same time of the shooting in Madison, right before. And they were in contact with each other online, communicating. Apparently, after the shooting, the Nashville shooter praised her actions after she did that and took her own life. The Nashville suspect allegedly live-streamed the shooting that he did on Wednesday on a Kick social media site. It was quickly taken down. And authorities also say that the Madison shooter, Rupnow, was also in contact with a man talking about targeting federal buildings in San Diego. You may remember that. On January 3rd, Alexander Poffenforth, 20, he appeared virtually before a San Diego judge in a hearing on a gun violence emergency protective order filed against him by Carlsbad police. The order required him to surrender any firearms. The FBI agents detained him after he discovered he was discovered plotting a mass shooting with Rupnow. During an FBI interview, court records show he admitted to the agents that he told the Madison shooter that he would arm himself with explosives and a gun, and when he figured out what it was, he was going to pick a federal building, didn't know which one yet, he was going to fulfill it. He spent the last few moments in court saying he was sorry about all of that, and it didn't happen. So at least that was thwarted. So that was a really sad story. That was awful. Also, new developing news, I wanted to bring you what the outgoing Madison Police Chief Sean Bars just said about school security as a whole. He's heading to Seattle to be police chief, But his parting message to the entire state of Wisconsin is that there needs to be more to protect our students, bringing back school resource officers to Madison School District. Here's NBC 15 with the interview with him.
I have always believed in a school resource officer model. I think we need to rethink how the officers engage the community, how they engage the school, and what they actually are supposed to do. And I think if we look at it from that standpoint, we can create a program that works for Madison.
And John Mercure and I talked about this. Should metal detectors be in all schools in Wisconsin? That spurred a lot of public debate. People were texting, and you can also text in if you want on the Citing Unlimited Talk and Text line now, 855-616-1620. John and I both said yes. There's a lot of pushback because people say it makes it feel like it's a prison setting. But, you know, if there's just one shooting that could be prevented with that, we both didn't think it was a big deal.
Yeah, well, and this one was unique too in Madison, right? Because it was a private school. So even if it was mandated by the state of Wisconsin or the DPI or Department of Justice, whatever it is, there's still going to be loopholes where people are going to be able to find ways to carry out harm if that's what they wish to do ultimately, right? I grew up in the world of Columbine, the post-Columbine. Like, I was in middle school when that happened, and I remember having a giant assembly about it and having officers like come into our school and talk about some of the things. I think we had to have clear backpacks for a while, not a whole school year, but maybe a couple of months or a quarter or something like that, just as people were trying to wrap their arms around this. School administrators, nationally, what are we doing in our schools and things along those lines. So it's unfortunate, right, that we're at a place in the world that it's, well, either put metal detectors in or be at risk of this most unfortunate situation happening in your school. It's just a sad place that we have to live in, a sad reality that people have to grapple with.
I so agree.
Right? In every community across the country.
So you know what's so interesting in the Nashville shooting? That there was artificial intelligence technology in the school to scan for a gun. There was an entire interface like that in the school, but they failed to detect it. So some districts have paused their subscriptions in light of this across the country. So that's some of the headlines I was seeing about this.
Well, it's so reactionary, right? Like everything that we had, it's like, oh, you could have looked back and you could have scrolled through this young person's social media. You could have scrolled through Natalie Rupnow's social media. But, I've talked to law enforcement before about issues like this, and it's, yes, we can do things to help deter stuff. We can catch things. We can put people on lists. We can do all that stuff. But ultimately, it's not illegal to have thoughts, right? And so that's such a difficult position that school administrators are put in, parents, frankly, are put in, students are put in, law enforcement is put in, because there's not one single answer when it comes to stuff like this. And as part of your story, when you're talking about possible links, possible connections between these two tragic incidents that have happened a month apart from each other, I said before, the one thing that really kind of stuck out to me was the way that this was carried out. It seemed very pointed, unlike other times when it's a student going into school or an adult or whatever it is. And I'm just going to cause mass mayhem. Like, my goal is to cause as much death and destruction as possible. These incidents stuck out a little bit because it seemed like they were very targeted. They were very pointed. It was, I don't want to cause mass panic and destruction. It was, I want to cause panic and destruction towards a couple of very specific people.
I know.
And you have to wonder if that, maybe does that help law enforcement as they try and target people and intervene with people before they carry out something like this?
I think so. Because they're always looking for lone wolves. And this may be one thing where they're like, okay, it did unravel some things. I mean, they looked into that girl's social media account, which is kind of interesting that I'm thinking about that. And because they could have saw that she was communicating with him, like a month ago, because the shooting happened in December, but they did take action against that San Diego man. So now we're going to be talking about school resource officers in Milwaukee.
Yes.
All right. So as part of Act 12, by law, by January 1st of last year, they were supposed to have school resource officers back in school. So the reason why there weren't any, because in 2020, after the murder of George Floyd at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer, the public school board unanimously voted to remove police from all schools. So a firm deadline for SROs in Milwaukee Public Schools has happened.
A judge ruled Thursday that MPS must place 25 school resource officers across the district by February 17th. MPS has failed to comply with the law since it took effect in January 2024. The judge also denied the district's motion to dismiss a lawsuit filed by an MPS parent and the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. A response from MPS says, in part, the court's decision is, quote, a recognition that the city plays an integral role in implementation of the SRO program, end quote. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
So if they don't make that deadline, February 17th, that's what they have, and fail to comply, district leaders will be required to appear before a judge in court and explain what's going on. Now, one more thing. There's also a fight over who will pay for it. Milwaukee police saying in the past it came out of their budget in the summer months, but the district budget pays for the school resource officers for the rest of the year. So there's that. Who's going to pay for it? So will we make this February 17th deadline? We'll have to wait and see. It's 4:57 on WTMJ.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Plans to begin construction on a 60-room hotel move ahead in Waukesha. Cobblestone Hotels will also include an indoor pool and a Wissota Chop House restaurant when it opens in the summer of 2026. Fortune Brands Innovations Incorporated makes plans to close its Master Lock Company offices in Oak Creek, ending the company's 104-year history in Metro Milwaukee. The move is part of a company-wide office consolidation and will affect 120 employees. Modine Manufacturing Company plans to open an operation in Franklin that is expected to generate 200 full-time jobs by 2029. Modine's Advanced Thermal Systems product group will lease 153,000 square feet at 3303 West Oakwood Road. I'm Linda Spice for MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Stop in and load up on great everyday essentials at Fleet Farm Stock Up Sale, January 16th through the 29th. 40-pound bags of Morton Water Softener Salt are just $5.99. Superior hardwood fuel pellets are on sale for $5.49 a bag. And don't forget your backyard friends. 40-pound bags of black oil sunflower seed are just $14.99. Be sure to stock up on all your everyday favorites, all at the best prices, guaranteed, at Fleet Farm Stock Up Sale.
Hey, John Mercure here. I love Otto's Wine and Spirits. It makes me smile. Serving Milwaukee since 1945. It's where I buy my wine. It's where I buy my beer. It's where I buy my spirits. It's Otto's Wine and Spirits, employee-owned, friendly staff, 7 locations. They know what they're doing. They've got the best prices at Otto's. They've got the best selection. Open 7 days a week with several locations. Milwaukee, Menominee Falls, which is where I go. Elm Grove, Brown Deer, Cedarburg. It's Otto's Wine and Spirits. They are the real deal. Buy it at Otto's.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Celebrate a birthday, anniversary, or retirement this week with a free dinner at the historic Fox & Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill. Buy one dinner, get one free. 7 nights a week. Google Fox and Hounds Restaurant and enjoy your free dinner.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Richlands.
This report sponsored by Exterior Pros and Baths. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation. Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. Visit extpros.com today.
Your hometown hub for everything that matters. The latest news, traffic, weather, and sports on Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 5:01. I'm Julia Fellow. This is Wisconsin's afternoon news for Friday, January 24th. Your top story. New information, more time granted before striking down Act 10.
I'm Mike Spalding in for John Mercure, inching closer to a major Senate vote.
I'm Debbie Loziga. Now we've got a crash. It's on 94 eastbound right about at 70th Street. The right lane is blocked, so we got big backups heading back into the Zoo interchange. We've also got a crash on 4394 southbound right about at Beecher. It looks like it's off on the left shoulder. Left lane might be partially blocked, so give them a wide berth if you can. We did have an accident on 894 southbound heading into the Hale interchange. It looks like they were able to get that off the freeway. Unfortunately, though, damage is done. We got delays from National all the way down into the Hale, so be careful with that. I'm Debbie Lozigo with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Slight chance of snow tonight. The low will be 17 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 34 degrees. Right now, it's mostly cloudy at 16 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, some big Wisconsin news this afternoon. A Dane County judge extending the pause on striking down Act 10. The Wisconsin State Journal reports that Judge Jacob Frost granted the legislature's motion for a stay pending appeal. Yesterday, he ruled back in December that several provisions of Act 10 were unconstitutional and unenforceable, specifically regarding collective bargaining rights for public employees, including teachers. He granted a pause on its implementation 2 weeks later, pending appeal. And all of this is likely to become before the Wisconsin Supreme Court soon.
In Washington, D.C., the U.S. Senate set to vote on Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing tonight. The former Fox News host has lost support from 2 Republicans, but is still expected to be confirmed. One for sure no vote is Republican Senator Susan Collins. We get the latest now from ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Senator Collins standing by her opposition to Hegseth, telling reporters that she's, quote, very comfortable with her decision. But that's all it is, her decision. She says she's not lobbying others in her party to join her and tank the nomination. I think everybody knows the issues, she said. Each senator has to make his or her own decision.
Sources telling ABC News that Hegseth paid a woman $50,000 in an effort to settle a sexual assault claim back in 2017. Hegseth, on his end, says those allegations are false, saying the encounter was entirely consensual.
President Donald Trump touring the fire disaster sites in California today after wildfires killed dozens and leveled neighborhoods. News Nation's Nancy Liu.
The recent wildfires have wiped out over 12,000 homes, including well over 5,000 homes here in Pacific Palisades. President Trump is scheduled for an aerial tour of the destruction, and on the ground later, he'll be joined by Mayor Karen Bass and other lawmakers for a walking tour of what was once a picturesque neighborhood near a charming Palisades downtown just a few weeks ago.
And we're taking a live look at the tarmac where Air Force One is about to land. Governor Gavin Newsom is waiting for Donald Trump to come off the plane. We'll have more later. President Trump said earlier today, by the way, he would withhold aid for the Los Angeles wildfires unless California adopted a voter ID requirement.
Back here at home, we're now learning that Brewers legend Bob Uecker was laid to rest in a private ceremony today. In a note from Ueck's family, they thanked fans for allowing them to mourn privately. Also said they appreciated the countless heartfelt messages and memorials, some of them at his statue at American Family Field. The Uecker family confirming they are working with the Brewers for a public celebration of life that's expected to come later on this summer.
Arctic temperatures are behind us, but will it come back? TMJ4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson tells WTMJ where the temperatures will go from here.
Right now is actually the coldest on average time of year for Milwaukee, where our average temperature is around 23 degrees. That's a period from January the 19th through the 27th. So we got 3 more days, and then on average it should get warmer. as we go forward in time.
Your complete 5-day forecast is coming up in 10 minutes.
Coming up, the age-old pizza debate bubbles up across the pond.
Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 5:05.
This report is sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
Slipping on the ice?
Ugh.
Someone else shoveling your driveway.
Ah.
Cold feet?
Ugh.
Toasty tootsies.
Ah.
Waking up to a cold house?
Ugh.
With no warm air coming from the register.
Ugh.
And discovering your antiquated furnace is DOA.
Ugh.
But now, this is you learning that Mr. Holland's Home Services can install a new, fully warranted, highly efficient comfort system.
Ah.
Better yet, you can enjoy consistent, cozy comfort with payments as low as $79 a month with approved credit.
Ah.
Because you deserve it.
Ah.
If your failing furnace is showing signs of old age, be proactive. Call Mr. Holland's Home Services to schedule the installation of your brand new, fully functional comfort system for a low monthly rate. And take your winter from
Ugh.
to 866-992-1717. Or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Ready to put some thought in your we can help.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here, asking you to join me in October as my wife and I explore the magical kingdoms of Southeast Asia, from the villages of Vietnam and the temples of Cambodia to the friendly locals of Laos and the beachside resort in stunning, lively Thailand. I hope you'll join us for this unforgettable journey. Ancient and mysterious worlds of rural landscapes, bustling cities, and fascinating history in Vietnam. Explore the Chu Chi tunnels used by the Viet Cong. Experience a street food adventure through Hanoi and cherish the serenity of Hai Long Bay on a beautiful boat ride. Bangkok in Thailand, the beaches in Thailand, history, tradition, food. If you'd like more information on this great trip, send me an email. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. It's Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. I'm super jazzed about this trip. Send me an email. I send you the info. john.mercure, MERCURE, @WTMJ.com.
Outdoor Living, WTMJ News Times, 5:08.
It's an age-old debate among pizza lovers. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Now, Lupa Pizza in England has joined the fray.
We very much, I would say vehemently, dislike pineapple on pizza.
Owners have tried it and say they can't stomach it.
We feel like it doesn't suit pizza at all, and we're not really sure why it's a thing.
So they've slapped a staggering $120 price tag on their Hawaiian special in a cheeky attempt to put people off it.
Pineapple on pizza is wrong. That should not be done.
Owners are serious about the price, promoting the Hawaiian pie on their app, writing, "For 100 pounds, you can have it. Order the champagne too. Go on, you monster." But so far, no one's been willing to put their money where their mouth is. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Bucks have now won 5 consecutive games. This after they defeated the Miami Heat last night at Fiserv Forum. Dame Lillard led the way. Hit a triple-double last night, also scored 29 points. The Bucks now back on an airplane heading west to Los Angeles, where they'll take on the Clippers on Saturday. A big night of college basketball. 10th-ranked Marquette hosting Villanova for a 6 o'clock tip at Fiserv Forum. You can catch that game over on our sister station, 94.5 ESPN. If UWM's more your speed, they are in Northern Kentucky tonight. You can catch that game with a 6 o'clock tip-off on 101.7 The Truth at 6 p.m.
Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 5:09.
Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at PellaWI.com.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite game, Response in Wisconsin. Guess the most popular responses from Wisconsinites. Okay, here we go. What's your least favorite thing about winter in Wisconsin? Gina Della from Pella.
Let me guess. Frozen toes? Oh, I know. Driving alongside bumper cars every time it snows. And then scrambling to find someone to watch your kids because they're school closed. Let's face it, this is just the time of the year when we just want to all be warm and snuggly at home. And Pella helps make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. With inviting doors to let friends and family in and beautiful energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out. Pella Windows and Doors is the best choice to make your home just right. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years.
Thanks for playing Response in Wisconsin.
Hurry! You only have until January 31st to get 0% interest for up to 3 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, Julia Fellow and Mike Spalding.
Really interesting sight right now. It looks like President Donald Trump and the First Lady have just landed in Los Angeles. Now you can see Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California, and the president in the middle, and then the First Lady are all talking to reporters at the same time. Gavin Newsom doesn't seem like he's really talking. He's just there on the side. Looks like they're going to take Marine One and then get a tour of the disasters that are going on in fire-ravaged L.A. All right, it's 5:11 on WTMJ. We're staying on top of that. And we also do something every Friday. It's a little thing called...
In case you missed it.
All right, so I'll go first. An ancient Greek statue that was more than 2 feet tall was found in a trash can in Greece. If you text WATCH to 855-616-1620, WATCH to our Citing Unlimited talk and text line, you can see it. A local resident alerted authorities after seeing it sticking out of the bin.
Do they know how it got there?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I didn't mean to spoil it.
The person who did this was identified, detained by Greek authorities, and let go. The statue is now being preserved, but archaeologists now say this is really invaluable. It dates back to 320 to 30 BC. It's an era known for its incredible cultural and artistic growth periods that a lot of artists study. And it looks like the statue doesn't have a head, but I don't know. When was America discovered by Christopher Columbus? This is like amazing. Like if we had something like this in America, it would be unbelievable to have, and this one's thrown in a trash can. By the way, in the UK, a similar shocking discovery was made in 2013 when an 1,800-year-old carved stone head of a possible Roman god was found in a trash can. It was recovered and preserved.
1492, by the way.
Yes.
Put them together.
Columbus
Style
got
points.
here.
Good job. Put them together, and then you have a statue with a head. There you go.
In case you missed it.
Good job.
All right. Well, you know how Florida has had like unbelievably cold weather this week? Well, a pair of wildlife officers in Gulf County, Florida, have gone out onto the cold water and rescued 30 cold-stunned sea turtles amid the unusually low temperatures in the region. They were able to get them because, like, when the water temperatures dip to 50 degrees or below, sea turtles can become weak, unable to swim, and they float listlessly in the water, hopefully near the shore, but sometimes they might actually even drown.
No.
So keep in mind, those cold-stunned turtles can appear to be dead, but a lot of times they are still alive. So these officers headed out onto the water and were able to save 30 of them. They are endangered species, the sea turtles. That's why if you see any sea turtle nests on the beaches of Florida, you are not allowed to touch them. You have to walk around them, and actually a lot of times they get actually cordoned off so that they're safe. So good for these guys. They saved the frozen sea turtles.
In case you missed it.
Dateline, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Sometimes it's not enough to bask in the memory of a key win of your favorite sports team, Julia. Sometimes you just need to own a piece of history. Sometimes that piece of history just happens to be snow.
What?
On Wednesday, the Philadelphia Eagles announced that they would be selling snow to fans that was involved in the Eagles' 28-22 win over the Los Angeles Rams last Sunday in their NFC divisional round game. And by yesterday, all that snow sold out. The Eagles say 100 fans were able to get their hands on the snow, $50 per pint.
Oh my gosh, we could have made a steal.
This is why the NFL and NFL teams continue to print money. I throw no stones. In my house right now, Mike Spalding's basement, you can find dirt from the original Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
Excellent.
I was suckered into buying it before the Cardinals moved into their current home, Busch 3, but at least I can say I have it in my house and like look at it.
That's super cool.
Purchasing $50, you don't have to. It's not that cool.
Well, I was thinking, what I was thinking about was that I was at Pfizer Forum, before it was like fully built, and I thought, why didn't I grab some soil from that while you were talking?
We could have. We could have. Well, it would have been cheaper than what I paid for it, but regardless.
Did you pay for it?
Yeah, I bought it. They
How much?
suckered me in. $25, I think, for soil. But I can look at it though. I can have it out because it's not going to melt. In my mind, this is like the alpha version of saving your wedding cake when you put it in the freezer because you can't take it out. However, we do have some bad news for purchasers of that $50 snow. It's expected to snow again this week in Philadelphia. They play the Washington Commanders. A win Sunday will send the Eagles back to the Super Bowl. I'm assuming the snow in the NFC Championship game probably a bit more valuable than that from a divisional round game.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
Go Birds, indeed.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. So I was looking at some of the bushes that have overgrown on my property, and I love our yard, but I need dormant pruning. That's what takes place during the winter when it's safe to cut back things so you have healthier trees and bushes around your house. Check right now to see if you've got stuff scraping against the siding or needs to be cut back, and schedule it now. Design Build landscaping projects are a year-round topic. Landworks Wisconsin does it the right way every time. They help people achieve their outdoor dreams by creating beautiful landscapes. I love these guys. LandworksWisconsin.com. Check them out today.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Higginson, Saturday afternoon at 2. Tune in each week as John exposes industry myths for truth seekers looking to navigate their way to financial freedom. What he reveals may surprise you. To learn more about the show and how Creative Planning can help you build a custom financial plan and portfolio tailored to you and your goals, visit creativeplanning.com/radio. Don't settle for outdated advice. Your money deserves better, and so do you.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee Mattress, where top quality mattresses are priced hundreds less than premium national mattress brands. Found exclusively at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
Traffic and then weather. Let's get to our Debbie Lazica. Hey, Deb, how are the roads?
Hey, Julia. Yeah, we've got this accident eastbound on 94 right about at 70th or 68th Street-ish area. Unfortunately, though, the right lane is blocked, so it is kind of backed up all the way back through the zoo interchange. Also, an accident on southbound 43 at Beecher. It's off on the left shoulder, but with these delays, I'm thinking the left lane is partially blocked, too. So backups all the way back into the Marquette interchange. We're seeing more delays on 894 southbound from Beloit Road down and around the Hale interchange to just past 76th Street, almost to 68th on the bypass. I'm Debbie Lazica with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly cloudy skies overnight tonight. Chance of some flurries as well, a low 17. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a high 34. Sunday, mostly sunny, a high 27. Monday, partly cloudy skies, 38 degrees is your high. And on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, a high of 35 degrees. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it's 15 degrees at 520.
Interesting developments related to the rash of robberies. High-profile athletes getting their items stolen, like the Chiefs' Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and our Milwaukee Bucks' Bobby Portis. He said his prized possessions were stolen in his River Hills home while playing a game.
I am now offering a $40K cash reward for any information or tips that leads to the return of my stolen items. you can stay anonymous and still receive the cash reward. Love.
There's been an arrest in Cleveland after the Bengals' Joe Burrow's home was burglarized during his home against the Cowboys. 4 men from Chile have been arrested after being accused of a string of burglaries, which took place in expensive homes, including Burrow's. Now, TMJ4 News investigative reporter Jenna Ray has been working to get more information into the Bobby Portis burglary. Jenna, TMJ4 is fighting the good fight, trying to get information from River Hills Police.
That's right, Julia. Last month, we actually filed a lawsuit. TMJ4 filed a lawsuit against the River Hills Police. Again, as you mentioned, the suit stems from a burglary at Bucs player Bobby Portis's home. We have been trying to get information on this burglary for several weeks. They were denying open records requests from us, and eventually, after some back and forth, they released a pretty much fully, I would say 98% redacted police report. So what that means to the everyday person is that, you know, the media and the public are able to access certain records. There is some discretion to what law enforcement agencies and government agencies can provide to us. However, we believe that they redacted too much and that they did not abide by open records laws in the state of Wisconsin. So that's kind of where the lawsuit stems from.
Jenna, I don't want to bury the lead at all. Do you know any more information beyond just that super redacted public information request?
So last Friday, we were in court with River Hills Police, and the judge did say that River Hills did too much redacting and that he was going to be doing his own redacting and that something was possibly going to be released today. We do have a status conference, which I actually believe is happening right now. So we're waiting for our attorneys to get out of that to see what comes out of that and if the judge did, you know, release some sort of not so redacted form of paperwork that we're looking for.
That's ridiculous. 98%. I mean, so it was basically you got a bunch of paperwork and it was all black.
I think it was like 30 pages of black lines. And, you know, especially in a case like this where we've now learned since Bobby Portis's burglary happened back in November, we've learned that there have been multiple star athletes across the country who have had this same incident happen to them. And after we learned about Joe Burrow's incident, as well as the criminal complaint that was released with the people who were arrested for this, we reached out to River Hills Police yesterday, asked them for an interview. All they said was that they're aware of this criminal complaint, they're aware of the arrests, and that they're working to get in touch with the proper law enforcement to kind of piece things together.
Wow. When is your report going to air today on TMJ4?
We are not doing a report today. We're waiting to, it won't be my report specifically, but we will have something in the newscast this evening, I assume. It is a status conference, so there is a chance that nothing could happen.
Right.
You know, at court today, but we have been, you know, continuously reporting on this over the last 2 months now. So we have some pretty in-depth reports. One of my investigations is, you know, detailing that redacted report, and then we talk with an open records expert about, you know, why this report was redacted. We spoke with Bill Leaders, who I know you guys are familiar with. He's the president of the Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council. We spoke with him about his group that works to protect public access to meetings and public records. And I mean, he basically told us a month ago that there can be things that they can withhold, like the name of the suspect, for an instance, maybe witnesses who were on scene, they can withhold those names. But you know, essential information like what was taken, how they did it. You know, since this is happening across the country, attorneys and experts seem to think that we should be privy to this information.
Wow. TMJ4 News investigative reporter Jenna Ray, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
You got it. All right, time for news about your money and your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything finished for the weekend on a Friday down. The Dow was down 140, S&P 500 down 17, NASDAQ down 99. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
There's only one store that gives you every possible choice in diamonds.
Welcome to Kessler's.
John Mercure here for the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. An estimated 1 million Americans live with Parkinson's disease. With 90,000 new cases each year, Parkinson's is a progressive brain disease that affects movement and can also impact mood, memory, and sleep. Dr. Ryan Brennan, a neurologist with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, shares how their team provides personalized care. Hear it along with all of our past everyday health discussions by clicking the drop-down menu at WTMJ.com.
This is Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. I'm reaching out with a message that's close to my heart. Devastating fires have ravaged the Los Angeles area, leaving families displaced, homes destroyed, and the community in need of help. Right now, you have the power to make a real difference. Your donation, big or small, can provide food, shelter, supplies, and much-needed support for those affected by the fires. If you are able to, please help those affected by the California wildfires and donate at www.lafoodbank.org/fire.
Some current employees or candidates for jobs may seem just average at first glance, while others have exceptional potential waiting to be discovered. Question is, how do you identify which ones are truly ready to excel? The LAK Group offers a huge range of employee assessments, so you have objective data backed by research to make hiring and development decisions. They even have culture assessments to uncover gaps and opportunities within your company. See all their assessments at transformingcareers.com. LAK, discover your human advantage.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Market Watcher Brian Wickert. Well, a lot of folks have buying a home on their New Year's resolution list, and while national news headlines talk about the inventory of homes for sale being a lot higher this year, I'm afraid that's just not the case in most of Wisconsin. So how do you make your offer stand out from the others so that someone else doesn't end up sleeping in your dream home? Well, it takes a team of a good real estate agent and a mortgage lender who has all the tools and techniques to help make your offer as attractive as possible in the eyes of that seller. Sure, you can go with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, or you can present your offer with an AccuNet, rock-solid, fully verified, and guaranteed pre-approval that might also come with the phrase that really makes sellers happy: no appraisal required. We'll also help you understand exactly what it means in dollars and cents if you do decide to offer over asking or give that seller some appraisal wiggle room. All you have to do to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval is click on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Peter Frampton. Let's Do It Again tour. April 15th, the Riverside Theater. Grammy winner, the one and only Peter Frampton. On sale now at papstheatergroup.com.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, a weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market, how it affects Wisconsin businesses and residents. Sponsored by the original Knowledge Broker, R&R Insurance. Joining me today is Jeff Salasinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, the commercial insurance market is getting more complex every day. We talk about it week after week. Are these issues concerning as we're approaching this busy time of year for insurance buyers?
Thanks, Vince. Great to be here again. It's a very complex market, but full of opportunity right now as well.
All right, let's talk more about what that opportunity is, Jeff.
Vince, underwriting income is up and investment income is up for insurance companies. That's good news for buyers. A strong finish to 2024 and a strong start in 2025 are very important for the insurance companies. And again, this is all good news for buyers too.
Okay, so how can folks who are listening to the show take advantage of this to improve their insurance programs?
Vince, with more capital and better results, what almost always follows is a desire to write more new business. If you haven't heard from your agent, it's getting late, but there's still time to act. If you have heard from your agent and aren't satisfied, there's still time to talk to R&R and get another option and another quote.
So what's the message here, Jeff, then, if you have an upcoming renewal, say in December or January?
Vince, you can improve your coverage importantly. You can probably save some money as well right now. Market conditions are favorable, and there's still time to get a quote. It's not too late for your December or January renewal.
So why should a business work with R&R Insurance?
Vince, buyers shouldn't settle for poor service or continue to tolerate being uninformed. It'll cost you nothing to sit down and talk to R&R Insurance. If you're looking for a better insurance buying experience, we'd love to speak with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Traffic is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It is 5:30. I'm Julia Fellow. Your top story this half hour, a controversial Senate confirmation vote.
I'm Mike Spalding in for John Mercure. A Milwaukee icon is laid to rest.
I'm Debbie Lazaga, and we do still have this accident on 94 eastbound, right about at 68th Street. Emergency crews are on the scene. A tow truck just pulled up, so that right lane's still blocked. Still have those delays stretching all the way back to Highway 100, so be prepared for that. We've also got this accident on southbound 4394 at Beecher, off on the left shoulder, and that's backing things up through the Marquette all the way up to Kilbourne. Northbound is backed up from about Oklahoma Avenue all the way up to the accident scene. And then we're still seeing delays southbound on 43 between Capitol Drive and North Avenue. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
A slight chance of snow tonight. The low will be 17 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 34 degrees. Right now, it's 16 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center this afternoon, a Dane County judge extending a pause on striking down Act 10. The State Journal, Wisconsin State Journal, reports Judge Jacob Frost granted the legislature's motion for a stay pending appeal. Happened yesterday. He ruled last month that several provisions of Act 10 were unconstitutional and unenforceable, specifically regarding collective bargaining rights for public employees. He granted a pause in its implementation 2 weeks later pending appeal. And all of this is likely to come before the Wisconsin Supreme Court soon.
Thank you very much. Those are the words shared by the family of Bob Uecker today. Uecker, the legendary Brewers broadcaster, was laid to rest in a private ceremony today, just over a week since his passing. In a note from his family, they continued to thank fans for allowing them to mourn privately, went on to say that they appreciate the countless heartfelt messages and memorials that were placed outside of Ueck's statue at American Family Field. The family went on to say that they are working with the Brewers to hold a public celebration of life, saying that it'll come later on this summer. Didn't provide any other details. Uecker passed away January 16th at the age of 90 after a battle with small cell lung cancer. Uecker would have turned 91 this coming Sunday.
President Donald Trump landed in Los Angeles to tour a fire disaster scene and hear from local officials about how big the need for recovery is. During a stop in North Carolina earlier today, President Trump indicated he wants to disband the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA.
He did mention water management and also voter ID laws, I should say. Putting these conditions on federal aid really isn't something that hasn't been done in modern times, but President Trump sees this through a political lens.
That's CBS News' Willie James Inman, who's traveling west with the president. He says the president wants conditions on any aid from Washington, D.C.
In D.C. right now, the U.S. Senate is debating ahead of a confirmation vote tonight on President Trump's nomination of Pete Hegseth for defense secretary. California Democrat Adam Schiff taking to the floor to speak out against this election.
Mr. Hegseth lacks the experience to be the Secretary of Defense. Mr. Hegseth has not shown the judgment to be Secretary of Defense. Mr. Hegseth has not shown the character to be Secretary of Defense.
Hegseth has his defenders, including a majority of Republican senators. He is expected to be confirmed tonight, even as some of that support does waver.
The Supreme Court agreed today to decide whether states can prevent religious charter schools from receiving public funding. Former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson.
But we know that this Supreme Court has been interested in allowing more religious activity in government and in schools.
The justices in Washington have agreed to take the case quickly.
Taking a look at your weather here locally, where does Milwaukee right now rank when it comes to snowfall so far this winter season? TMJ4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson.
11.9 inches so far for our season. That is about maybe half of what we should have seen already to date. And then it's around a quarter of our total annual snowfall. So we're running behind, but we still do have more than half of our snow season to go.
We will get the latest on this weekend's weather. Storm Team 4 Chief Meteorologist Brian Isnansky joins us live here on Wisconsin's Afternoon News in just a couple of minutes.
One of Milwaukee's finest chefs is a semifinalist for the coveted James Beard Award.
It's the fourth such nomination for Amelinda owner and chef Gregory Leone.
I like to explain him as the Oscars or the Grammys of the food world.
Leone, a semifinalist in the Outstanding Chef category, tells Wisconsin's Midday News his nominations are a reflection of the outstanding food scene in Milwaukee.
I think for the size of Milwaukee, we have so many amazing and talented people here cooking. And there's people who appreciate good food.
Leone is one of 8 Wisconsin chefs named to the semifinalist list. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
The finalists will be announced 6 months.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Your Milwaukee Bucks are now winners of 5 in a row, defeating the Miami Heat at Fiserv Forum last night, 125-96. Up next, a trip out west for the Bucks. They are hitting the airports, hit the skies, I should say, for a trip out to LA to take on the Clippers. Late game tomorrow night. In college hoops, full night tonight for your local teams. The Marquette takes on Villanova, hosting Villanova at Fiserv Forum. That game tips off at 6 o'clock. UWM Panthers also in action, taking on Northern Kentucky. They're on the road. That game broadcast on 101.7 The Truth, starting at 6 o'clock as well. On the ice, the Badger men and women both in action in Madison this weekend. The number 1 ranked women's team takes on St. Cloud State Saturday and Sunday. The men, meanwhile, take on number 10 Michigan at the Kohl Center tonight. Puck drop at 7 p.m. Your Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited. It's siding and a whole lot more.
Outdoor Living Unlimited news time, 5:36.
Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at PellaWI.com.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite game, Response in Wisconsin. Guess the most popular responses from Wisconsinites. Okay, here we go. What's your least favorite thing about winter in Wisconsin? Gina Della for Pella.
Let me guess. Frozen toes? Oh, I know. Driving alongside bumper cars every time it snows. And then scrambling to find someone to watch your kids because they're school clothes. Yeah! Let's face it, this is just the time of the year when we just want to all be warm and snuggly at home. And Pella helps make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. With inviting doors to let friends and family in and beautiful energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out. Pella Windows and Doors is the best choice to make your home just right. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years.
Thanks for playing Response in Wisconsin.
Hurry! You only have until January 31st to get 0% interest for up to 3 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
5:37 on WTMJ. I hope you're having a great Friday. All right, Brian. Chief Meteorologist for TMJ4 News, Brian Niznansky. Okay, I see that there's rain that's coming to LA. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's good and bad. I mean, I think the good outweighs the bad. They haven't seen a significant rainfall, since May for many locations. So these fires will just keep happening until they get some rain. So I think rain trumps everything else. However, the rain does bring a threat of mudslides to areas that are scarred from the wildfires. So obviously immediate concerns there, but they do need rain. So I think most of the residents there would agree on that.
So what are some of the dangers then? You mentioned the threat of mudslides, and maybe I'm just a rube here, Niz, but mudslides wouldn't help quell some of the fires? Is it just not in the right locations? It just seems like it's a compiling issue on top of an issue.
That's a good point. The mudslides would occur in areas that have already burned, and there's probably no active fires of concern in that spot. So what the mudslide concerns would be is, obviously people who would be, trying to pick up the pieces or anything left in the areas that have seen bad damage. Mudslides could occur and happen very, very quickly. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were, potentially evacuation orders for those concerns, or at least the law enforcement there keeping people out of the areas that have burned already, because once a mudslide gets going, it happens really fast, just like an avalanche, and then places that are below the burned area could be affected by that mudslide as well. As far as mudslides in areas where there's active fires, not as likely, because the ground, there's still vegetation, there's still things that hold that part of the soil together, but the added rain would obviously be a welcome sight to the active fire locations.
Oh my goodness. Okay, do you see any systems coming to Wisconsin?
It's really interesting. We find ourselves in a pattern heading into this weekend where there's some really, really cold air that's still tucked to the north of us. But down south, we're going to start to see things warming up. So we find ourselves kind of in a transition zone. a lot of times that does lead to a stormier track of snow, but it looks like it really comes out of the northwest again. So what we end up getting is a series of weaker systems, scattered snow shower chances, one, maybe a few flurries tonight, another round maybe tomorrow afternoon, and then again Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Very weak systems that, bring a dusting of snow for us. What we need to see is be in this transitional pattern, but see things kind of flip where the trough digs down out west. We start to get more Gulf moisture in play, and then a bigger system to develop. But right now I'm not seeing it. So snow lovers, if you're looking for that big winter storm for us, nothing in the near future.
He is Chief Meteorologist Brian Isnansky. Brian, thank you so much. We'll see you at 6, right?
Sounds good. Yeah, have a great night.
All right, thanks. 541 on WTMJ.
There are a lot of interesting people and traditions in Wisconsin. 1 hour of covering culture and creativity in our state is simply not enough. I'm Sandy Max of WTMJ's What's on Tap with the happy news that my show is now expanded to 2 hours. So please join me weeknights from 6 till 8 for updates on festivals, films, food, music, theater, and other ways we love to make the most of Wisconsin life. What's on Tap with Sandy Max weeknights now from 6 till 8 on WTMJ. And subscribe to the What's on Tap podcast to listen anytime you want.
Namaste.
Dan, what are you doing?
Shh, you're harshing my mellow. Join me in some breathing exercises to chase away the chaos.
Let's focus on our clients since we offer an exceptional way to control the chaos.
Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space.
And we don't over-design projects, sending you 3 beautiful designs to fit your price point.
Plus, our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer.
Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
By now, you've probably figured out what's most important to us at Semperfi is our reputation. Building a great character-driven remodeling company is actually quite easy. It's just the first 20 years that are a bit challenging. Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation, but they only come after you've built something they want to be part of. We don't necessarily have to look for good people. They come to us. And that's what you want when you hire an exterior remodeling company. Someone who's going to stand behind their work, and a company that is truly proud of their people. And it's because they do great work. And when you're ready, we'll do great work for you too. This is Brad Youngluth with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semperfi.
Time's ticking on Heiser's Drive Into 2025 sales event. The clock is literally running out on remaining 2024 models. We're making room for new rides, which means huge savings just for you. Shop online or race in today and get a new vehicle for way less than expected. With low payments, special financing, and immediate delivery, you'll start 2025 in style without breaking the bank. But hurry, because once they're gone, they're gone. Visit Heiser.com now for all of the details and get ready to roll into the new year with a celebratory deal.
See dealer for complete details.
As winter takes a deep freeze, it's not too late for you to get hot, hot, hot. Fox World Travel has your ticket to paradise with deals you won't find anywhere else. Save on last-minute all-inclusive vacations with Apple Vacations or get up to 67% off public cruise rates with Royal Caribbean and Celebrity Cruises. Is Europe on your mind? Ask about Fox Group Vacations. Book now and save only at Fox World Travel. Book online or call 866-GO-FOX-GO and mention code RADIO.
Let's get you where you need to safely with our Debbie Lazaga. Hey, Deb, how are the roads?
Alrighty, well, Julia, we did have an accident on eastbound 94 at 68th Street. Looks like they were able to clear that one, and the right lane has reopened. Delays are still there, though. Pretty hefty coming out of the Zoo interchange all the way through the stadium to about 27th. Westbound, all clear. Looking good out of the Marquette into Waukesha County. We've got southbound on 794. Just about a half mile south of Car Ferry Drive. Looks like the right shoulder's closed with what they are calling an incident. So it could be a violator that got pulled over. So just be careful as you're heading through that. Southbound on 43, heavy from Capitol Drive down to North Avenue. Back on the brakes through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge down past where there was an accident at Beecher. That has been cleared out of the way. And still heavy on 894 southbound from Beloit Road around the Hale interchange onto 894 eastbound past Forest Home. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
U.S. authorities have arrested more than 500 migrants and deported hundreds in a mass deportation just days into President Donald Trump's second administration. We have ABC News law enforcement reporter Luke Barr on the line. Luke, what's the latest?
Well, what we know is that for the first time in history, the military was used to conduct deportation flights. One flight was out of El Paso, Texas, and had about 75 to 80 Guatemalan nationals. The other flight was out of Tucson, Arizona, had the same amount of Guatemalan nationals, both being taken by Air Force C-17s back to Guatemala. Now, in years past, in administrations past, they have used private contractors to deport migrants, but this is certainly an escalation.
Luke, was there a reason that El Paso and Tucson were picked sort of as the first two cities to go through this?
It remains to be clear why they picked these two. Presumably, it's because the assets are close by, in Arizona and El Paso, but they haven't really given us a reason why. They picked these two sites as places to conduct their first deportation missions.
What about in Chicago? Because we're in Milwaukee, that's closest. So maybe give us a temperature on what's going to happen here in the Midwest. Do you know what happened in Chicago?
Well, it appears that ICE attempted to get into a school in Chicago, but then according to the school department, the ICE officers are not allowed in the school without a warrant, which is typical for places of that nature. But it all goes back to sort of the executive order and the memorandum that the president signed and the acting secretary implemented, which allows for ICE to go to schools, churches, and courthouses to conduct their deportation efforts.
Interesting. What kind of school? Because aren't they looking for people who have serious crimes as of right now? Were they children or were there teachers? If it was a teacher, I'd think that they would have a background check.
Well, and that's the thing about these ICE deportations. We just don't know, right? And we don't know until they tell us. And so when you talk about schools, in some cases it's parents, right? But it all kind of depends on what the enforcement operation is going to be. And the real truth is a lot of these enforcement actions that we're seeing, what people are seeing and hearing take a long time to develop, right? You think about having a violent criminal, they want to, for the safety of law enforcement and for the person they're arresting, they want to have a planned operation that, is safe and takes the criminal out of wherever the situation they are, and also protects the law enforcement officer. So sometimes these one person can take, 2 or 3 weeks.
Look, it seems fairly significant that this is the first time that U.S. Air Force planes were involved, the U.S. military was involved. Is this, in your estimation, a sign of things to come as far as how the president's administration may work with the military and law enforcement communities to conduct these deportations?
Well, absolutely. In a memo that we had obtained, which said that the planning documents at CBP said that they could ask for as many as 10,000 troops on the border, right? Now, it's important to note that the Defense Department said they haven't heard about this number, and it was kind of an internal number that they've been floating around at CBP. But, look, it certainly is a precedent that has been set. In the president's first term, they sent troops to the border as well. There are already about 1,500 of those troops down there now. So it certainly is going to be something that we could see happen a lot in the future.
Okay, I wanted to talk about some more of those arrests because you were talking about a school. There's another one that was targeting a work site in Newark, New Jersey. Take a listen to the mayor. Details what happened when ICE agents stormed the building. It's a 17-second soundbite.
Obviously, some ICE agents raided a business in our city.
without a warrant. They went in the back of the establishment. We believe that there were 3 people who they say were undocumented that they detained, but they also detained folks that were, in fact, citizens.
And Luke, this includes, the mayor says, one person who was questioned even after showing a military ID. You're a ABC News law enforcement reporter, so is that okay to do?
Well, look, by ICE statute, the ICE doesn't need a warrant, to conduct specific civil enforcement. The way the statute is written, that if there's probable cause to conduct, to investigate a crime solely because of the immigration status of who they're investigating, they don't need a warrant. So it appears that this was unfortunate that it happened, and apparently they went in and detained some folks. But by the letter of the law, ICE doesn't need a warrant to conduct some of these operations. And I think a lot of the action that we're going to be seeing in the next couple of months will be sort of using that authority more broadly.
Look, we kind of knew that these deportation efforts were going to be messy, right? The government's never really done anything like this before, certainly not so quickly after a president's been, put into office. It's been, 4 days since Inauguration Day. In your line of work, in your world, in your estimation, how much of a wrench is social media going to throw into this? Because I can go on my X account right now and you see reports of stuff, and then an hour later it turns out that it's not true. It just seems like social media's influence over this, over misinformation, what's real, what's not, can just muddy the waters even more than they're already going to be. Do you see that being a pretty big issue as far as getting the correct information out there?
Well, I think that you're going to have a lot of situations where the information might not be fully, read. I mean, you see, I even was on social media last night, and I saw, a bunch of cop cars, and it was, being reported as an ICE raid, and I, was like, what the heck's this? So, I think you're going to see a lot of that stuff underway, and it's important, for viewers and listeners and readers to kind of do a double check of what they're actually seeing. Go always to a second source to see what they're actually seeing, because it might not seem as if it might not be that what it is you're seeing on social media. It might be old. It might be dated. It might be something that's. So I always recommend just doing a second layer of investigation. I mean, people are smart, and they can get to the truth of really what's going on, but it just might take a little bit of time.
And Luke, you're an ABC News law enforcement reporter, so here's my question for you. We were talking about how they were even going into Chicago schools, but they weren't able to get in today, at least. And they're also possibly going into churches. Aren't churches off limits? Can't ICE not go into churches? I don't know. I didn't think that they could go into churches.
Well, and they couldn't in the prior administration. There's sort of a moratorium on all those. They call them sensitive areas. But now in the current administration, they've sort of unlocked. They put a pause on, or I guess more rescinded that guidance that they can't go into sensitive areas, and now they can, especially if they believe that a violent, undocumented migrant is in one of those places. ICE said that, they can use their discretion, but at the end of the day, they do have the ability, if they need to go into those sensitive areas.
ABC News law enforcement reporter Luke Barr, thank you so much.
Thank you so
much.
Good weekend.
Thank you. All right, you got it. So we covered a lot on Wisconsin's Afternoon News today, including the Nashville school shooter's connection to the school shooter that was last month in Madison. So you'll see that. TMJ4 News investigative reporter Jenna Ray joined us about that big investigation to Milwaukee Bucks Bobby Portis, whose home was burglarized in River Hills. The station took the River Hills police to court. You can hear why by listening back to our podcast. If you text WAN, that's WAN, it stands for Wisconsin's Afternoon News, WAN to 855-616-1620. WAN to our Citing Unlimited talk and text line. Takes you right to our podcast page. There, you'll also hear from a prolific author on the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. what he thinks you'll see when the federal investigative files are released after President Donald Trump's executive order. You might be disappointed, he says. So if you text WAN to our talk and text line, you can see why and what he's going to be looking out for. And a Racine man who is connected to horrific swatting incidents, hacking into victims' doorbell cameras and mocking police when they make fake 911 calls. The details are crazy. I played the videos. I have some of the dispatch calls, and you can listen back again if you text WAN, W-A-N. Again, it stands for Wisconsin's Afternoon News to 855-616-1620 to our Sighting Unlimited talk and text line. It's approaching 5:56 on WTMJ. I hope that you have a great Friday. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday. John's back on Monday.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Plans to begin construction